Felicitations, adventurers! Welcome to Roll for Felicity, where we play serialized one-shots in a multitude of systems with assorted players. And we're here today with Arse and Farce. It's our second episode of our Good Society stream. I'm very excited for this. Not everyone is able to make it today. We'll see if Philip Farthingbottom makes an appearance after the break. But I am here with Zavery, Mace, and Tag, and we're gonna be playing some fun Jane Austen themed shenanigans, basically. If you're new here, my name is Taylor. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the person who runs Roll for Felicity. I am generally the GM, DM. In this game, it's called the facilitator. Sometimes it's called the keeper, the storyteller. Usually me, not always. And I also play some video games on here as well, usually on Tuesdays. But today is not Tuesday. Today is Sunday, Sunday afternoon. And I am, as I mentioned, here with some other folks. We're getting some love in the chat from Melanie saying that our hair and fashion is on point, which I appreciate. Oh, that's the other thing. I just talked about this and I've already forgotten. We are also going to, as like a little get to know you thing when we do introductions, mention our favorite Jane Austen characters. And mine's a real basic, Elizabeth Bennet. I love Elizabeth Bennet. I used to read the great illustrated classics version of Pride and Prejudice over and over and over when I was a kid. And I just love her. So that's my favorite. And then I will turn it over to Zavery. Do you want to introduce yourself to the chat? And also let us know your favorite Jane Austen character.
Hi, I'm Zavery, also Zavery on Twitter, she, her. And my favorite Jane Austen character is Cher from Clueless.
That is good.
You know what? Now that you said that, I'm almost certain we did do this question once before.
That actually is. I remember that rings a bell.
Really?
I think you said that last time too.
I don't remember saying that, but if I did, it's still true.
It's good.
It's so good.
It's good. That made me forget who's next. Who's next on the overlay? Tag, you're next on the overlay. Do you want to introduce yourself to people? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tag. I use they, them pronouns, and you can find me on Twitter mostly, or Instagram if you like seeing mostly pictures of food or screamy little cats. I think I am a real Eleanor Dashwood fan personally, and Mace just made a face. I'm pretty sure we have the same favorite. So I will say that, like,
I was wondering if it would be that. I was like,
it's a close second for me though is Elizabeth's dad, Mr. Bennet.
Oh yeah,
huge fan. Just can't be bothered with anybody's bullshit all the time. He's so tired. I love him.
Yes, very relatable. And Mace, do you want to introduce yourself to people and let them know? Well, we already know the character you're probably going to say, but you can elaborate.
I'll go on a little bit more about Eleanor Dashwood because she doesn't get enough credit. I'm Mace. I use she, her pronouns. Eleanor Dashwood is the best Jane Austen heroine. I will die on this hill. She's phenomenal. The poor man's Lizzie Bennet. She's great. My close second, though, since we're doing close seconds, is probably Charlotte Lucas, because Charlotte is extremely smart and is, like, playing the system every chance she gets, and I find that very respectable.
Yeah.
But Eleanor wins by far.
lot of good options when we're talking about Jane Austen characters. And speaking of characters, all of us have some characters to be playing. If you're not familiar, Good Society is, we're talking about Jane Austen. It is a Jane Austen themed tabletop RPG. And this, we've said this is Arse and Farce. This is a farce. It's going to be kind of goofy, kind of silly, lot of drama. I always say when I'm using my resolve tokens, which is kind of the main mechanic of the game, is resolve tokens, that I am like a nasty little lady, and I've got some nasty plans in store for these characters because it's our second episode. We're thinking of doing 4 to 5 total. So depending on how many we do at the end of this episode, we'll be halfway through the series. And the halfway point is when everything goes to shit for the characters. You know, if we're looking at a classical, you know, movie timeline, that's when there's a lot of complications, you know? It's like, oh, this party, we have to get ready for this party. It's a week away. Oh no, we have to do it tomorrow. Like that's the midpoint. So with that in mind, I will briefly mention some of the stuff that happened last time we played. And also, I think then to just turn it over to the characters, because we already talked before stream about some of the stuff we were planning on doing. Melanie's Taylor is canonically a nasty little lady. That's true. That's true for Good Society. I'm not normally that nasty as a DM, but for Good Society, it's encouraged. So last session we started with a funeral. The funeral of the Farthing Bottom patriarch, who I don't think has a first name in canon. Lord Farthing Bottom, or whatever it would be. During the funeral, we met Nicola Popichka when they arrived at the funeral late, with kind of a loud noise of the door, sat next to Mortimer Farthing Bottom, who's the middle triplet, who some people in chat really liked, despite being pretty much the definition of a sad sack. We also met Esther Peachtree, who immediately took a dislike to Nicola. Partially, I think, because they had met before, but partially because Nicola was wearing the sunglasses at a funeral, which was not respectful, at least to British standards. Perhaps in Russia, where Nicola is from, things are a little bit different. What else happened at that funeral? Esther kept dipping her sandwich in her tea because she was so angry. Constance.
That's just how I like it.
Yeah. That's just how I like it.
They're called tea sandwiches for a reason.
Like a soggy tea sandwich. Constance and Nicola were properly introduced by Constance's triplet, Philip. And Esther started some rumors as a result of the funeral, when she bumped into Nicola, that Nicola was just a little bit too physically affectionate. You know, maybe it's just a cultural difference, but Esther, I think the first thing she said to them was, "Can you take your hands off me?" You bumped into each other. So despite the fact that Nicola didn't actually do anything, Esther immediately started spreading rumors. Let's see. I'm trying to just keep it. There were so many funny things that happened. I'm just trying to keep it short. We wrote some letters, primarily establishing that Constance has a gambling problem, and wrote a letter to her bookie to place a bet on round Arse to Millie, and signed the letter only with the initial F. I think that's the main thing. Nicola wrote a letter to Philip, trying to find out whether or not Philip had inherited any money from his father's passing. Constance wrote a very sweet letter to Esther, thanking her for her companionship. There was some romantic entendre, and they wrote back and forth, I think. And then we cut to a picnic. The Peachtrees had a picnic, I think we established, like, kind of several months later, maybe toward the end of spring, whereas the funeral was the beginning of spring, which was the first time that the Farthing Bottoms appeared outside of having been in mourning, and the Peachtree patriarch, whose name is William, deviously told the Farthing Bottoms that they didn't have to dress up as nicely. They gave them a different dress code. And so the Farthing Bottoms appeared, but not looking as nice as they really should have. Esther continued spreading the rumor that Nicola is interested in her and was a little bit too familiar. The other main things that happened is that Nicola, once, I don't know if it was like an invitation or like the three of you kind of all decided, but Nicola, Constance, and Mortimer want to go horseback riding together, which Constance was very excited by. because she loves horses.
It made you sound so bad.
Well, it's because I think you said you were a horse
No, it's
girl.
my idea. I know it was my idea. Just
You're a horse girl. Regency, you're a horse girl. And Esther and Constance stole a moment together, and Constance suggested that Esther marry Mortimer, and then offered to have Esther over to the Farthing Bottom estate in the library, just like old times. Philip was thereafter banned from the Peachtree estate for his association with Nicola and for wearing crusty hunting clothes to the picnic. And then the only other main thing that happened there in the letter writing phase last session was that Constance and Philip both wrote to Constance's bookie, placing bets on Round Arse Millie, but both as Constance. So basically the bookie got 2 letters, presumably both from F, in Constance's hand, placing bets on Round Arse Millie. I think that is the main thing that happened last session, and we decided a little bit before the stream that we were going to start this session with a visitation novel chapter. Which means that it'll be kind of split up. The last couple things we did, everyone was kind of in the same place together. But this time we're going to be split up a little bit. Do we want to start with the library date, or do we want to start with the horseback riding?
This is an important question too, because it determines if I keep wearing these glasses or if I switch to the sunglasses again, potentially enraging a person who won't even be there.
she'll just know it. She'll just be at home like
Just feel it on the wind.
Oh, while you all are deciding that, also I forgot to mention this earlier. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of talking, but I have more stuff to do this time than normal. If you are in chat and you want to affect what happens during the story today, you can do so. As usual, we do have incentives for tipping. If you tip 200 bits or $2, let me put this in chat, tip rewards. You can choose a player, including the facilitator, and give them a resolve token, which just gives us more things to do. For 500 bits, you can create and spread a rumor, which the rumors could potentially come true during play, or at the very least have an effect on what people think about each other. So that is just something for chat to think about. If you want to make things a little bit spicier, you can do so. Also, shout out to Peebs in the chat.
Peebs!
But yeah, what's that? Which dates do you all want to start with?
I don't really have any preference. They both sound so fun. We could flip a coin.
Yeah, Constance is in both scenes, so.
I realize this is me just sort of putting off doing things in a way, but I just want to see the library scene personally. So.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, let's start with the library scene. I think I will ask Constance, because this is at your house. And I feel like you kind of had you had a little monologue at the end of last session that was very sweet about you wondering, if Esther still thought fondly of you and if she noticed the dress that you were wearing and all these kinds of things. So I feel like, did Constance kind of do anything to set the scene for this date? Like, do you have things decorated a certain way? Do you have, I just kind of am interested in knowing how Constance is prepared for this date.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think that she maybe is feeling a little bit self-conscious about how they arrived at the picnic. And despite Esther assuring her that she doesn't think badly, she doesn't think any differently, she's probably trying to be maybe a little bit more put together this time around, even though this is supposed to be like old times. She's probably being a little bit insecure, especially hearing that Philip has been straight up banned from the Peachtree Estate. She's like, okay. So I think that she's got maybe one of her nicer visiting dresses on, shawl, just to like kind of, oh, I just got up, and is going through and like piling up a couple of the select favorites that she and Esther used to go through back when they would just visit and hang out in the library all day long, while Esther was preparing to be a tutor, and Constance was dreaming of continuing studies and such. They would just hang out all the time, just read all day long. Started going through some old favorites.
How long do you think it's been since they, and this is to kind of a question to both of you because it affects both of your characters. How long do you think it's been since you two were in close confidence with each other?
I don't know. Maybe like a year, I guess.
I was gonna say a year. It should be something dramatic.
Yeah. So
I wonder if it had something to do with like Constance's father's decline in health, and like, or maybe like a blow up between their families, and being like, maybe we shouldn't really actually hang out that much anymore. And then it kind of just fizzled until recently. So yeah, maybe about a year.
I like that. Esther, I think before you head out for your visit, as you're what do you think that you're wearing as you are getting ready for this, like leaving the house, getting ready to go over to the Farthing Bottoms house?
I think that I want to like be extra, like I want to look extra nice, but I also want to be like extra like modest or like respectable, just because I don't want to come off like I'm there to like start trouble or something since like, that whole thing with my father already banning Philip, and like just, yeah.
I think speaking of that, as you're kind of like getting ready to like go out the door, I think your father is, because I think that this seems like it's like kind of morning or like at least afternoon that this is happening. And your father, as you leave, is, I think it's one of those things where you're starting to go out the door and he is sitting in like the dining room and has like, can see like maybe there's a pass or something, not a passage, but like a hallway through to like the front door. And it's one of those things where like, the camera focuses on Esther as you're, maybe tying your bonnet or about to go out the door. And then there's kind of a rack focus where you see that William Peachtree is sitting in the kitchen, or not the kitchen, the dining room or a breakfast nook or something along those lines, having some tea, looking over the newspaper, kind of rattles his newspaper, gives it a little shake and says, "Oh, darling, where are you headed off to this afternoon?"
I have a visit with Constance. She invited me to visit her family library.
If he was less proper of a person, he would do a spit take, but he's very proper. So he very calmly, you hear like the estate is kind of very quiet right now, and you just hear this clink of him setting his teacup back down in the saucer, and he says, I pardon, but I could have sworn you just said you were going to the Farthing Bottom estate."
I've been there plenty of times. I don't see why it should now be different.
I simply don't understand how you could be headed there when, will Philip be there? Obviously we don't want to have you having any interactions with Philip or his associates.
Whether Philip is there is not my concern. My visit is with Constance and no one else.
Well, I'm not terribly fond of Constance either. Were I a less gracious man, I suppose I would simply forbid you from setting foot on their estate, but you are my darling daughter, my pride and joy. I suppose I cannot be too cruel. I'll leave it up to your better judgment whether you attend Constance's invitation or not.
Of course I plan to accept. You know that you can trust me as always, Father.
He doesn't really say anything, just like gives his paper another shake and just puts it back up, and you feel like almost physically his not disappointment, disapproval, like as almost as a physical presence in almost ushering you out of the house as you head to see Constance. But yeah, let's I think cut over to you and Constance at the library on the Farthing Bottom Estate.
I'm so glad that you decided to come over. I was worried that I piled up all of these for no reason.
Of course, I said that I would come, so I'm here. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you. Yes, you've always been a woman of your word. I got your favorite, like last time. Mythology for young people. That was your favorite, wasn't it? It's been such a long time.
I can't believe you remembered. It was such a casual remark.
Well, of course, I mean, I was never one for mythology and such like that. I always went for something a little bit more romantic. But I knew that you liked this one so much, so I thought that you could revisit it. Although I'm certain you have your own copies. I don't mean to imply that. Well, it's just nice to have you here.
I'm still grateful, of course, for the gesture. My students borrow my books all the time, so I'm always glad to have one around to read.
Do you have a favorite student that you teach?
Well, I am close with Edith. She's a little, a little ambitious. She's very studious. She reminds me of how we were in school.
Yes, I remember it very well. Oh, we thought that there was so much more out there, but it comes down to the same events, parades, doesn't it? At a certain point.
Yeah, and Esther gets really quiet at this point because she's still thinking about how her father acted. So she doesn't want to go too far and risk pissing him off more. So she's just things never worked out quite how we expected them to when we were younger.
I suppose not. Although I am truly glad that you've come. It's a comfort. It's a comfort to feel old familiar things. I feel as though I'm always doing the part of someone older. I don't feel quite my age.
It's a lot of responsibility you've had to take on since, everything that happened. And I have to say, I admire how well you've been handling it. Everything.
That's very kind of you. I'm certain that I'm not doing it as well as I should, or that I'm doing some things quite incorrectly. And she starts kind of fidgeting on a folded envelope that's just sitting on the desk before noticing it, sliding it under a book and be like, but what's to be done? There is no one perfect on earth, and we can just hope to be the best versions of ourselves for our own sakes and for others. I'm certain that with your family's recent financial success, you and your father are quite of the same mind.
Yes, of course, you know how it is with family. There are always minor disagreements, but at the end of the day, you assume that your parents know what is best.
think as Esther says that, the door to the library opens, and Hilda Farthingbottom, having heard, some talking, some conversation in the library, pops in, and says, "Oh, Constance, I didn't realize you'd, had visitors today."
Oh, yes, I apologize. I forgot to mention it, but I figured since Esther is an old friend and we are not in anybody's way, if we need anything, we should get it ourselves. We don't need to take any trouble.
Yeah, I think Hilda looks over to you, Esther, and gives you a polite nod and says, I, of course, sent a letter to your father, but I just wanted to let you know that I do apologize dreadfully for the actions of Philip's friend, Nicola. If I had known that was the sort of person that Philip was hanging about with, well, I don't suppose I could do much about it. Philip's always been quite headstrong, but that's of course why Constance is the heir to the estate. But I do want to just extend my deepest apologies, and I'm very pleased to see that you have found yourself welcome here this afternoon, despite the slights against you.
I appreciate your concerns, ma'am. All of that is, of course, in the past.
Mama, I don't think that.
No, go ahead.
I don't think that we should judge Philip's new friend too harshly. They are very newly arrived in our country, and why, just later this week, Mortimer and I and the individual are going to be horseback riding. Going to show them the grand estate.
Well,
I'm
perhaps,
very much looking forward to it.
perhaps you can teach them a bit of English gentility. Perhaps it's been a misunderstanding.
I guess I forgot that you never ever make a mistake.
I love it, Take, that you played that for yourself to defend your own character.
Oh.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think, Hilda says that maybe you could teach Nicholas some manners, and then, says, well, I don't suppose I shall trouble you anymore this afternoon. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, girls, and leaves. And I did spend a resolve token from Hilda to have her appear someplace fortuitously to break in on your little tete-a-tete.
I think after she leaves, Constance is going to kind of turn to Esther with a sort of, kind of look and say, well, I do hope, despite everything, that you can find it in your heart to forgive whatever discrepancies Nicola has shown to you. I'm sure that they mean the best. They were very pleasant to me, and I look forward to getting to know them much better.
Oh, I see. Of course, it wouldn't be very becoming of me to hold grudges or anything like that. Your mother is very sweet.
She
Yeah.
certainly means well, and she's been through so much that I don't have the heart to disagree with very much that she says.
I understand. I wish that my parents were as understanding.
Well, perhaps give them time, and they will come around to your way of thinking. After all, it is your own life, and you must be allowed to make certain choices about which people you spend your time with and the best way to propel your future. If nothing else, I hope that you follow your heart wherever it goes.
Yes, I'm so glad you agree. I'm of exactly the same mind.
I was reading this bit of Byron earlier. I thought I might share it with you. Would you like to hear it?
Of course.
This is... She gets like all oratory. She probably took class way too seriously. This is the first stanza of On this day, I complete my 36th year. I imagine when one is 36, one knows all variety of things. 'Tis time this heart should be unmoved, since others it hath ceased to move. Yet though cannot be beloved, still let me love. Can you imagine that kind of sentiment? It's so fascinating.
I agree. I certainly hope to someday. You always have it ear for picking out the best poetry, Constance.
Well, I'm sure that there's more out there that I didn't have the opportunity to study while I was in school. But Daniel sends me messages all the time, and they have the most wonderful news about what's the new goings on in the academic world. I do hope to hear from them soon again. Have you kept in contact with them?
I don't think I've heard from them recently, but when you hear back, I would love to hear about everything you learn.
Of course. Oh, they must have such an exciting life. But hang on their every word.
It seems like that seems like a good place to wrap that scene, unless you had other things that you wanted to do. But also, I'll remind you that you all do have monologue tokens to spend again, since this is a new cycle. So if at any point during a scene you want to spend your monologue token to hear another player's internal monologue, you are able to do so.
I was actually just thinking, I think I would like to spend mine here. I think I want to hear what Esther's thinking.
Yeah.
Click that off the sheet.
I think that Esther is just thinking that she has like a lot of plate spinning that she's trying to balance at the same time. Like she doesn't want to be disowned by her family by like seeming to choose the farthing bottoms over, her parents. She doesn't like the fact that Constance is hanging out with Nicola at all. She's like, I tried so hard to get her to hate it, to get her to hate them, and it apparently didn't work yet. And also, just she doesn't want to push too hard and lose all of her reputation at one time, since it's, her family is just now trying to build it up again. So her head is kind of all over the place, and it's working against her because she's very distracted also, and not focused as much as she should be on spending time with Constance, which is what she wanted.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I think, does anyone have an idea for, I've been framing this very film-ish in my own mind, at least because I'm thinking of the BBC miniseries kind of look. Is there a final kind of shot of this library date that either one of you would like to end on? Doesn't have to be dialogue or anything, but just what do you think is the last thing we see before we cut to this writing date?
I think I just want to be oh, have you tried this before? And then I start dunking one of my little sandwiches in my teeth.
always
Surprising, but it's actually quite tasty.
Constance is disgusted.
Constance is she did this out of disgust and upset, and now is just committing so hard to covering that.
I know.
No, this is just my thing.
No, it's good. It's good.
You should try it.
Esther just had an internal monologue about having too many schemes going at once, and then decided, I think I'll also add...
You know what?
I should really double
This
down
thing.
on this tea thing so that nobody thinks about months ago.
Wonderful.
Constance is disgusted and is oh, I think that would pair better with a morning tea, which is not what we're drinking. So I think I'll try it tomorrow.
Of course.
But thank you very much. And we'll kind of just
Close-up shot of a
Just kind of
soggy
flip.
sandwich on a
Flip a
plate.
page.
A close-up of a soggy sandwich on a plate. The sound of, pages turning, some muffled talking of the two of you, which fades into the sound of the galloping of hooves on this horse riding date. What do you think, the Constance and Nicola, I'm assuming this would be a different day, Nicola,
I imagine so.
what do you think Nicola's wearing, since you haven't gotten to describe, and the switch?
Yeah.
I'm outside. I have to.
Yeah, what do you think, Nicola's wearing?
I think I don't know why, but I had this image that they are wearing trousers and yet insist, because they have very good balance, of course, on riding side saddle. And there's something about that that's very fun to me.
I love that.
Dreamy.
And I think they are wearing like a very light, like riding shawl kind of thing, if such a thing is anything.
Yeah. Why can't it be?
Yeah, we're getting into summer, so I think they're trying to dress very lightly, and they're not currently at a funeral, so they're not all in black this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's why I chose this, because I knew I was doing this.
I think the first thing that happens is we hear the sound of the horse hooves, the hoof beats or whatever. I can't think of any words right now. We see Nicola ride into frame side saddle very elegantly with this shawl, and I think there's a frame that's just like Nicola's super cool, and then we see Nicola have to reach back because Mortimer rides up behind next to you. He's riding, whatever, not side saddle. I guess it would be English, right? And is close to falling off of his horse, despite the fact that he is not.
This is great for me, because I was going to spend a resolve token for Mortimer to be having a bad time.
Wow, you know what? You don't need to. My MO is for Mortimer to be having a bad time. So Mortimer, I think it's up to you what you do with this, but Mortimer, I think, is sort of, his horse is going a little bit too fast for him as he kind of comes into frame. He's like, all over the place on this horse coming up.
I'm gonna try and catch his reins and be like, you dropped these.
Yeah, I think I think you just doing that, because the horse is not misbehaving necessarily, just so like as soon as someone who knows what they're doing like has a hold, the horse like slides to a stop. Mortimer is nearly thrown off, but then kind of adjusts himself, takes the reins, and and kind of looks around and says, "I'm this steed. I had told the harrier to take a look at this. Spirited, very spirited." And he's wiping his forehead with the handkerchief that he always has to have some handkerchiefs on him.
I know you were nearly going at a full trot there, so.
Yes, the horse pulled its head aside and pulled the reins out of my hand, and
It's so important that you keep holding the reins even when that happens. So that would be my suggestion to you.
Yeah, he's just kind of like adjusting himself. Oh, of course. Yes, good to keep in mind. But yeah,
If you're ever confused about what to do, just perhaps look at your sister, who seems to be riding very comfortably.
Constance glides past. Not even bothered. She doesn't even know there are people here.
I'm with a horse.
So this is a double date. It's,
We're the same energy.
Constance and the
I'm
horse.
on a date with Mortimer. Constance is on a date with the horse. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Boise. She does kind of like canto back to kind of like join them, and it's like, "Oh, Mortimer, I didn't realize that you had slowed down. Are you all right?
I hadn't slowed down. I was actually going quite fast. Actually quite
I see.
quite faster than I intended, but I managed to stay aboard thanks to Nicola here. Gave me a bit of an assist.
She like stifles a giggle and like kind of looks at Nicola.
Yeah, I'm gonna just kind of like quirk one eyebrow a little bit, like while facing slightly away from Mortimer.
When Mortimer says
Mortimer,
that...
perhaps you would.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, please go ahead. I was going to say perhaps we should go to another area of the grounds that doesn't have quite so many roots on it, so we don't have to hop over so many. Maybe just a nice pasture, just grass and nothing else. Be a bit calmer.
Yes, the roots are something terrible. I'll have to talk to the groundskeeper about that.
You would know all about that, of course.
Yes. Many trees have roots.
He was just describing to me what all of the roots are from and what plants are growing them, and now I know the names of all of these plants, and that's
Truly fascinating.
simply in my head now. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you just never stop learning with Mortimer. It's always been such a dear boy. Such a dear boy.
Mortimer does not realize that you're making fun of him. Looks very proud.
Perfect. He's, you know what? I understand why people like him. He is perfect in a way.
He's a wonderful boy.
I think he.
So,
yeah. Go ahead, Tig.
Please, Constance, you were showing me this part of the grounds. You say you have pastures. I would be fascinated to see them, and I'm sure there will be many fascinating plants. And now that Mortimer is very comfortable on his mount, I'm sure we can go there with great haste now.
I am certain we could. Well, let's see that, shall we? And to just start trotting off, making sure Mortimer is in a place where he's going to, fall off the horse again.
He immediately drops his reins.
No, it's the one thing I told you must do.
You could lead it. You could give it a little walk. You could lead it around.
Well, we're quite a way out from the pasture. It would be quite a hike. I think I'd prefer the horse. My dear friend, Nicola, would you mind passing me those reins again?
Yeah, of course. And of course, I'm sitting side saddle with my legs to my left, right? And I'm imagining him for whatever reason on my right. So I'm just doing this like long stretch back to reach his reins to hand them up to him.
Yeah, he takes his reins from you, and then he does the Pride and Prejudice thing where the hand clench after you hand him the reins.
Creamy.
Okay, so yeah, the sexiest thing possible happens.
And then Mortimer rides off, and because Constance already took off, Mortimer takes off after Constance.
Okay, now I'm the one who's trailing behind. Okay, that's very nice. I don't know where we're going.
Catch up, and just goes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and. He's doing fine. I'm gonna just try and catch up to Constance then at that point.
Yeah.
Truly living her best life.
Yeah, do you think, is Nicola trying to do something to kind of gain Constance's attention, like, away from the horse? Like, what's happening?
I think away from the horse would be a mistake. Here's what I'm thinking is that, this is going to sound so terrible, but I think that Nicola figures Mortimer's easy. This is fine. I don't actually have to think too hard about him.
Yeah.
And I think where their head is at is if I ride impressively, is probably the best way to catch Constance's attention as well.
Here's what I think maybe the way we could do this is, Nicola, if you want to offer Constance a resolve token to pay
That's a good
attention
idea.
to you.
That really is what I should be using all of these for, come to think of it. Just for people to pay
Look at
attention to
me.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would happily offer a resolve token. I didn't use any last time we played,
Yeah.
for some reason.
I want to do the thing that we had talked about last game, where you can put a condition on it.
Yeah.
So we didn't
Please.
utilize that yet, and I want to be fun.
Yeah.
I think I would love to accept that token with the condition that Nicola dishes something about Philip.
Ooh.
Something gnarly.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting. Do I know something gnarly about Philip?
Can we make up something gnarly about Philip?
Here's what I'll say while you're
Have
thinking.
some rumors going.
So there's something else that we didn't do last time at all, because there's a lot of actually different ways that you can get resolve tokens in this game. If you wanted to, you could. I don't know if this will play now because since Arielle's not here, I don't know if I would want to do this without her being here for her character. But you can call upon someone's negative traits to get a resolve token. When you do that they erase that trait from their actually, you know what, we don't even need Arielle to be here if you wanted to do this, because I just remembered the rule about it. Okay, so you can without entering into negotiation, you can spend someone's negative reputation tags as a resolve token. So what you would do is erase either sleazy, self-obsessed, or tasteless from Philip's negative traits, and then give Constance another resolve token to have that affect her opinion of Philip. So say like, okay, you'll get this if you do this thing to Philip. So it's kind of another, it's more of a negotiation with Constance than it is with Philip. You can do the same with positive resolve tokens, but you can only use your own positive resolve token, or positive reputation tag, sorry.
So I only have the one.
Yeah. Yeah, so your positive reputation tags you can spend. But you can't, like, for example, Nicola, not that you would want to in this circumstance, but you couldn't call upon Philip being charismatic and get a resolve token. Only Philip could do that because he's spending something that's, like, positive for himself.
Interesting.
But you could, without any negotiation, take one of these negative ones. And the reason why there's no negotiation is because it's beneficial to that character to not have that negative tag associated with them anymore.
Interesting. I somehow didn't even know that was a thing you could do in this game.
Yeah, it hasn't
which is
come
weird
up
because
yet,
I've read the game.
There's a
we've
lot
done
of
a lot of
things
it.
that affect resolve tokens, and they don't all come up. It's kind of the same thing as the rumors, which is the other thing I was going to say, is if you wanted to have one of these rumors affect the story, you could do the same thing, cross off the rumor, and give Constance a resolve token to be thinking something as a result of that rumor.
Yeah, I was just looking at the rumors because I was trying to think about things about Philip.
Yeah.
While Arielle isn't here, I almost wonder how spending one of Philip's negative tags even sort of works. I mean, I guess Constance knows he's self-obsessed. That is sort of the first thing that comes to mind, like the fact that he has no real interest in their family's affairs as a whole, which is important to her.
It's not like that surprising.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there might be something. I think negotiating can still be fun. So now I'm trying to think of something that might be a better negotiation piece, I suppose. Because while Constance knows all this stuff about Philip, she's not like, her main goal is not necessarily to destroy Philip. She's just like, oh, he'll work his own stuff out on his own. So now I'm trying to think of something else that, like,
I have a thought of something that's true about Philip that
Please.
that Nicola
please
could
share.
know. Well, I don't know if Nicola would know this. Do you think Nicola...
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
I mean, if it's what I think it is.
It might be the same thing. Do you think Nicola knows that Philip wants to disinherit Constance?
I was wondering that same thing because like it hasn't. I don't think Philip and Nicola have specifically talked about it. That is sort of why I had asked in the letter writing phase last time.
Yes, right.
Or what?
Yeah, about kind of what Philip's situation would be at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I think with something like that, you can normally spend resolve tokens to know certain things. I think for that one, though, because it significantly hurts Philip's desire, Philip would have to be here to accept that resolve token for you to know it.
Fair enough.
Right.
But you can keep that in mind for later. That maybe talk to Arielle about that.
I think then for now, for the sake of just keeping the scene going, I will just accept that and just keep that in mind for maybe a later negotiation for resolve tokens. Because I do want to.
I mean, if I offer up that resolve token for getting Constance's attention, we have a fading rumor that involves both Philip and my other friend Cassandra.
Yeah.
A little bit. So I mean, I could perhaps know that that's not true.
Oh yeah, that's true. That could be free of charge. You can address fading rumors because there's no mechanical benefit to it, so you just mention it.
The fact that that's fading doesn't feel like the most priority.
Right.
I think you know what? She appreciates a good rider. She appreciates the horse. She's like, okay, damn.
Cool.
Okay, damn.
Well, in any case, take that token.
I will accept that token. Thank you much.
So Nicola, do you want to describe a little bit about your fancy riding that gets the attention of Constance?
Sure. I think as I'm like catching up to Constance, since I'm spending a token, I'm going to be very showboaty about it.
Absolutely.
I think that they will say something about getting just a bit uncomfortable on this side, and while still riding, like kind of positioning their hands on the pommel, like switch what side they're sitting on.
Oh.
Without breaking speed.
Constance feels a bit of a flutter, I think.
Very impressive. Very impressive. Although I suppose that's your training.
Oh yes, it comes in handy in almost every aspect of my life. You would think I would still want to do it, but in fact, I'm just trying to take the skills with me wherever I can.
Well, I'm certain that those skills will serve you in a variety of ways. Like writing. Like writing.
I didn't even know I could do that. What a wonderful surprise for me as well.
Well, yes, you are a very surprising kind of person. She like knows that she can't do anything even remotely similar, so it's kind of just like maybe a little embarrassed, just kind of slowing to a trot and kind of just plodding along like this sort of little pasture area they found themselves in. Well, if you ever wish to do any more writing and see whatever other kinds of tricks you can do, you're certainly welcome to come by. Just, I'm sure if you let me or Philip, or if you really want to, Mortimer, know, we would be happy to join you.
Oh, I almost forgot Mortimer was with
I'm
us.
sure someone will find him. He's usually under a tree someplace. And he's brought back in by supper. Truly, we've come to find that he's more content there, really.
Well, Constance, if I may, you are too kind, and I, this is a lovely, lovely country, but it is still so very new to me. So, to have a genuine and welcoming friend such as yourself is deeply appreciated.
Well, to be frank, I don't have very much experience with the world outside this town and this family and the bit of life I've experienced at school. So to be with someone so different, so new and exciting, it's very rewarding. And your company is very much enjoyed here.
How wonderful.
I hope that other people may come to take my point of view.
One can only hope. It's a good start, though, to know that you and I can do so much for each other.
Yes, of course. I think she drops the reins for a second. It's like,
oh, you've had the same problem. And now that I switch sides, I have to do the long stretch in the other direction, I'm realizing.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, it runs in the family, I guess.
Guess so.
Something about all these roots.
I was distracted by a comely root.
Taylor, I don't know if you've ever thought about having merch for your stream, but that'd be a great shirt.
I want a shirt that says a comely root.
It sounds like a Decemberists lyric.
A comely root. Oh, it do though. Right off of the Hazards of Love.
I'll send them a tweet about it. I think, was there anything else that you all wanted to do during this first novel phase? Or do we want to move on to reputation?
I think the last thing, I imagine like maybe they've gone back. Mortimer's might still be out there. So as she hands her horse off to somebody and like takes off some of her like riding regalia, she just kind of mentions to one of the stable boys like, I believe the older Mr. Farthenbottom is, you should check the orchard. And and before she says goodbye to Nicola, just kind of like gives a sort of a simple kind of curtsy and is like, well, thank you so much again for coming all the way out. I'm sorry that Philip wasn't able to make an appearance. To be frank, I haven't seen him much today, but I'm sure he'll be very sad to have missed you.
True, I have not seen him in some weeks now.
Weeks? Oh, I thought perhaps he'd been lodging with you. He sometimes goes on these benders and stays with friends.
Ah, no, I'm afraid not. It's a shame. That sounds fun.
I'll have to talk to someone about that. That's a bit alarming. I'm almost certain you'll see him before I do. So, please, you're welcome to come visit any of us anytime.
Very kind of you. I'm going to, if I can, take Constance's hand for just a moment. I'm not going to like kiss a knuckle here, but I'm going to do as proper I can, a like bow to the level of her hand kind of gesture before I leave. And then just go walking home.
You turn. Here's the thing. I'm gonna spend another resolve token.
Oh no.
You do that. You turn around. Mortimer
nasty
is standing.
Little lady.
Mortimer is standing in the
He's back!
backlit at the entrance of the stable and sees you. And just drops here's the this is gonna be so good. Drops the little bouquet of flowers, wildflowers that he was holding, and runs off.
No! No!
And that's the end of the first novel phase, I think.
What is this love parallelogram? This is bananas.
Perfect. Okay, so we're now in the reputation phase. So
Should have thought more about
let's see. What section is this in? I believe if you look at your family background sheet, you can see your reputation criteria, which is based on your family background. So for Constance, it would be old money. For Esther, it would be new money. For Nicola, it would be foreign. The background.
It's funny every time.
It's really funny.
What's your whole deal? Foreign?
Is there anything that you
Have you
think
heard of
you
it?
all have done to gain positive or negative tags during that last novel phase? And I will say, while you're thinking about it, where is this that I wanted to highlight? Because as we're going through this, we're getting into the rules a little bit more. And there was a specific thing. Basically, the gist is, it's not like I'm correcting anything or that this hasn't come up. But just for the record, there is a little blurb in the reputation section of the rulebook that says, major characters will still meet reputation criteria even if their actions occurred in private. So even though these scenes were some of them were just two of you with someone else popping in, the walls have eyes or ears or whatever it is. And people, rumors get around, things get around. So even if, what I'm saying is Constance and Esther are not, immune to having reached criteria in private conversations. Basically, it says, reputation presents the weight of society's expectations, which are ever constant, rather than rumor or gossip spread by particular characters. Besides, in Austen worlds, this is the phrase, if I only would have read a little bit further, the very walls have ears, and there is little done in confidence which is not reported to the world at large. However, whether an action took place in public or in private can be considered when determining if it contravened society's conventions or created hardship for the character. So, definitely, if something was in public or private, it can affect how severe of, a reputation thing it was. But it still impacts even if it was, in private. But yeah, does anyone have ideas of, reputation criteria that they have, gotten during the last phase?
The only thing I feel like I don't even know if I can argue this for Constance because it wasn't strictly duty or morality, but acted in a way that could have compromised her desires, because her desire is really to kind of quell the feud between the Peachtrees and the Farthing Bottoms. Is kind of doing that through reconnecting with Esther, but spent a lot of time hanging out and getting kind of close with the person that the Peachtrees super hate right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, because she made plans, I guess you could call that duty, but it's kind of a loose argument at best. But that's the only one I could maybe see.
Yeah. Let me see what yours are.
Or maybe if she was if there's an argument that she was too familiar with Nicola.
That's what I was gonna say, because you and Nicola did ride in together because Mortimer was kind of supposed to be...
We were unchaperoned.
Yeah, Mortimer was kind of supposed to be the chaperone and wasn't with you when you came in.
Oh, that's right.
So
that's a good point. She didn't even think of that.
Depending on how you could interpret that, because that's kind of what we laid out last time. It's kind of iffy because Nicola doesn't have a gender really, so it's arguable whether that would be a problem, because it's not a problem for you to hang out alone with Esther, but also in the previous session it was proposed that Mortimer would be the chaperone. Yeah. So
that's a
I'll
good
leave
point.
That up to you.
Because I love the drama of being unchaperoned, what I would propose is that because Esther and Constance have hung out a lot before, that it's probably not viewed as weird, whereas this is someone they've kind of just met.
Yeah, that's true.
And their relationship isn't totally established yet, and some people could get the wrong idea.
Yeah, regardless,
I love the drama of being unchaperoned. That
regardless
seems so
of any,
cool.
Gender dynamics entirely. Nicola is the mysterious stranger in town, and you were alone with them.
Yeah.
So
for a little bit.
Go ahead and take a negative token.
That gets me to 3 though.
Yeah, it sure does.
This is drama.
Yeah. I
Self-obsessed.
think I might.
I'm gonna take self-obsessed.
Yeah, go for it. What were you gonna say, Esther?
I think I might take a negative tag as well, just because I kind of like openly defied my father's wishes, even
Wow,
if he
yeah.
didn't like express it, like we all knew. Like,
Yeah.
So
I was gonna
I'm
propose
thinking
the
it,
same thing.
That's
yeah.
fun.
So I think a negative tag.
Drama.
I was a
Maybe-
perfect angel the whole time, so
The turntables.
I was a perfect angel. What tag were you thinking, Xavier? Were you about to say?
Let me see. I already have
Oh, yeah, that's
unfortunate
3 for you,
connections
too.
and common. Yeah, that's 3 for me too. So maybe
We're just messed up.
beautiful.
maybe outsider.
You
I don't think I can argue uneducated, but maybe outsider
Yeah.
or vulgar.
I was gonna say vulgar or outsider. You also could, I mean, you don't necessarily have to stick to these tags. So if there's a different word, like single word that you can think of, like rebellious maybe, something like that, that
Oh
could
yeah,
fit.
that works
That's good.
because I think that the like result or the thing that you get for having 3 negative, I'm gonna pick is of no importance, because I think that people would see, like, since I'm going against my family's decisions, that whatever I'm doing, like whatever I decide, isn't what really matters. It's what my parents are doing. So I feel like people will stop, like,
Yeah, that's a good
caring
one.
about what I have to say. Yeah.
Oofa.
I'm looking at the foreign examples. I don't see any positive ones applying unless you have a different pitch tag.
No, I agree.
It's up to you if you think that you being with Constance unchaperoned would reflect poorly on you as well. As being, because, and
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
especially because you do have some rumors going around that you are too familiar with, with British standards.
It certainly does seem to play into that. That's a good point.
But I'll leave it up to you because it's kind of a gray area, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a solid point, and I'm the only one who hasn't taken a third, so I think I will absolutely take that for another negative tag.
Wow. You
And
all of you have a negative reputation condition because Philip got one last time.
Yeah. It feels like the tag itself. I mean, this isn't one that's. I already have uncouth.
Yeah.
Which is wild because again, I've been a perfect angel. But I think. Yeah, it feels like too familiar is the tag that we're kind of.
Yeah. Like over familiar, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Considering the nature of the tag, I would like to propose using the word for Constance instead of self-obsessed, reckless.
Yeah.
She
I think
didn't
that's good.
actually acted without thinking.
Very good. I think you all have chosen great tags. Cool. Okay, so Constance, it looks like you picked what you want your reputation condition to be. Do you want to share it with the class?
I sure would. Seeing as she really just didn't think through her actions very clearly. I've chosen the token, the reputation thingy, the bad reaction, the bad time.
Condition, reputation
I
condition.
forget. You literally just said it.
It's hard to remember.
You just said the word. You just said the word.
Condition, yeah.
This bad time I've chosen is bad example, where a family member follows your poor example and throws care for their reputation to the wind. So all 3 of us are probably going to be wrecked.
Do you think the person who follows your bad example is Mortimer?
I think it has to be Mortimer, unless Philip just wants
Gorgeous
to
Mortimer.
dive bomb that plane.
I like that it's Mortimer, especially since Mortimer had that
I
dramatic
love that.
moment of seeing you and Nicola.
Like, you know
God,
what?
that's good.
If they like bad boys, I can be a bad boy.
Oh no, you know what I think happens? I think, because sometimes during
Corruption arc.
Mortimer's corruption arc. Here's what I think happens. I think because you can
Whatever.
kind of mention like little scenes or like things like that happen during this reputation phase, especially when you get a negative condition or positive condition marker. I think the scene that happens is there's we see the thing with Mortimer framed throws down his flowers. And then I think the other thing that happens is Nicola, where are you staying when you're in England? Did we establish this?
I am not sure we did, interestingly.
You could be staying with Grant.
Where was I staying before I met up with Grant then?
Maybe the Farthing
ooh.
Bottoms? Maybe with Philip? I can't
Maybe
remember.
the guest house or something.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not sure. Or maybe you were just staying at like
At
an inn or something. I don't know.
I may have just been staying at some sort of public establishment. It seems to make sense that like I specifically made contact with Grant. It would seem to make sense to me at this point that maybe I'm staying with him.
Okay, so you're at Grant's. It's a stormy, like it's the end of spring / beginning of summer. It's starting to be like very stormy, like the summer thunderstorms. It's late at night. I think, Nicola, you're maybe you're still awake reading something and hear a knock at the door.
I just sort of like look at a window where there is a storm happening and just go, okay, that can't be good. And I'll close my book and go to the door.
You open the door, completely drenched. Mortimer, standing at the door, hands you a soaking wet letter and doesn't say anything, and I think turns to leave.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm concerned I'm not going to be able to read this because it's soaked through.
Haven't you done enough to me?
Oh, I have hardly done anything to you at this point.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Miss, you've messed with my heart. You've played me against my sibling, my own triplet. Nicola, I can't stay away from you, and yet I can't stand to be in your presence.
That's a terrible problem. Perhaps you could sort that for yourself. When you're not standing in the middle of a rainstorm, would you like to come in?
He like grits his teeth and like makes a fist and looks at you and says, "If only you'd extended that offer a mere afternoon ago, but at this time I cannot."
It wasn't raining then, so
I will not be made a fool of. And he turns and leaves. I think he's just walking back to his house.
Oh my god.
And word gets around. I think Mortimer comes down with a terrible cold.
oh no!
And word gets
Oh my
around
God.
that he threw himself at this foreigner, inspired to do so by his triplet Constance, who was seen cavorting alone with said Russian.
Boy.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
That's the song of as Mortimer is
boy.
sick in bed. For anyone who's new here, this is what Mortimer looks like.
He's kind of cute.
He
Actually.
is kind of cute. He looks kind of like Darcy
looks
in
like
the newer Pride and Prejudice, I think, a little bit.
He looks like a sensitive one.
Yeah. So that's that reputation condition. That Constance, your triplet is taken terribly ill by following your impetuous and reckless example.
Wow,
Esther.
Nicola, can't believe you've done this.
I can.
Can't believe you've done this.
Can't believe you've done this.
Can't believe you've done this.
Everyone can believe I've done this.
Ah, fuck. Fuck. It makes so much sense that you've done this.
Nicola, did you pick your your condition?
The problem is I was 100% going to mark great offense, but now they fully both work equally well.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think.
that's true.
Great offense or fracture are my
they
options
both work
here.
really well, actually.
So, well, yeah. So, yeah, initially I was very much thinking great offense, and I was sort of thinking of Hilda, because she is at this point the sort of matriarch of the Farthing Bottoms.
That's true.
But fracture with Mortimer also feels equally.
Yeah.
I mean, after that scene,
I would say, for the purpose of story and the purpose of what your desire is, fracture makes for a more interesting story arc, because if, let's say that someone, you or someone else, used one of your negative tags and you dropped back down to 2, you would lose the fracture, you would lose that condition, so you're not stuck with it forever. So that opens the gate to possibly mending fences with Mortimer, which would be good for your, your goals, your devious goals. But yeah, if you, it's up to you. You pick. Oh, I see you have picked. Fracture.
I agree with you fully. I think fracture is. It's right there.
Yeah, I think the button on that scene of Mortimer is you open the letter and it's fully illegible. it's completely wrong.
I was right. I can't read this.
The only thing that you can still see, I think a raindrop falls onto it as you open it up, but you can just see, what would be a good word for this? Heartbroken Mortimer is how he signs the letter, and a drop of rainwater makes it dissipate. And that's Mortimer. That's Mortimer's big stand.
Hey, do you remember being in your early 20s? Because in this very moment, I just remembered what age these characters are.
They're all in their 20s. Esther, you mentioned this of no importance. Is there a scene or anything that you want to do to establish that, or do you want it to come up in the next letter writing and novel phases that people just don't think you're very important?
Yeah, I think it can come up next time.
Cool. With that, I think we're done with the rumor and scandal phase. Not nary a one of you managed to get a positive tag. Despite having...
Why start now?
Despite having, pleasant interactions with each other.
I wish Philip was here, because that would be such a good, mistaken identity scene if it was Mortimer who did all of that, and then everyone was like, Mortimer, no, it must have been Philip.
It must have been Philip.
Well, you mentioned that
might start that rumor.
We are headed into the rumor and scandal phase. We can... I need to check something, but we'll go in order. And let's actually start, because last time Mace was last. Let's start with Mace, and then Tag, and then Xavery, and then me, and I'll go twice in a row, and we'll bounce back the other way. So you can... Let me see what happens to these fading rumors, but it seems like you want to make one up. So go ahead and... do whatever you want to do, and I'll look up the rule for when these fading ones blip out, because I can't remember.
I really have to go with that idea, because that's so cool. Because of the nature of the tag, bad example, I was wondering if it might make it a bit more dicey since there's 3 of us. If it was simplified to it wasn't Mortimer but a different Farthing Bottom triplet. But I think because of the nature of Bad Example, it has to be either Mortimer or Philip because Constance is the one that prompted it.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. In that case, we can go with everybody thinks it was Mortimer, but some people swear that it was Philip.
Yeah. And
That
Mortimer was just
those
sick
2
for
younger
different
triplets.
reasons. It's allergies.
Mortimer was sick for unrelated stuff.
I like that. Okay, let me see. Have the rumor change the story? I know about that. Okay, rumors that are fading are marked with a symbol on the sheet, while rumors that have already faded out are crossed off. At the end of each rumor and scandal phase, cross off any rumors not yet spread. Okay, so at the end of this phase, any rumors that are fading will not be a part of the story anymore. That's how it goes. So if you really wanted to spread this rumor that Philip had an affair with Cassandra's understudy, or that Mortimer pissed his pants at the funeral, you could choose to spread those. Or they'll go away at the end of this. So Mace put it was Philip and not Mortimer who threw himself at Nicola. Who did I say was next? I think Tag. You are next. You can spread a rumor or you can make one up.
I was so focused on how good that one was, I wasn't even thinking about it.
You can choose to spread it if you'd like.
Could just choose to spread it. Boy, what a spot of trouble to create for myself with that one.
Yeah. Also, anyone in chat can spend 500 bits or $5 to create and spread a rumor of their own.
What is interesting about that one to me as well is that we have the one that has been spread, that Mortimer has all these proposals and just doesn't realize it.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I had actually forgotten about until just now while looking at it. So the idea of this rumor spreading that, like, actually Mortimer, why would Mortimer throw himself at anyone? Gosh, it's sort of a boring choice, I think, but I think I will spread that Philip threw himself at Nicola. It's real fun.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Then that goes to Zavery, I think. Yeah, Zavery, do you want to spread one of these fading rumors, or do you want to make a new one up?
I don't know if I have a better idea than that.
This is simultaneously my favorite, like, mechanical thing in this game, and the thing I find the most difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really tricky. Excuse me.
Maybe we can do one connecting with the reputation condition that I just got.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
So, I don't know. Something like Esther just, like, has her head in the clouds, or something where she's, like, not to be taken seriously.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that's different than, because I was going to say rebellious, but that's already what your tag is, so it'd be better if it was something different than that.
Self-interested, maybe? Like, it seems like she's just doing what
I'm almost thinking
she wants.
something more specific. What would you think, because this is something that is kind of true, but what would you think if there was a rumor that Esther is trying to make a connection with Constance, like a romantic connection with Constance.
Oh. Okay, yeah. And be like, and that's like clouding her judgment or something, like.
Yeah. Because it's something that's true, but it's also something that people don't necessarily know. And so I think it would be easy to spend that once we get back into like the novel phase.
Yeah, true.
But I don't want to tell you what your rumor should be. So that's just
no, I think
just
that's good. Yeah.
Okay. Esther is trying to make a romantic connection with Constance, and that ties into Constance having, you know, been with all, you know, unchaperoned, and now it's like, oh well, we thought it was fine that she was hanging out with Esther so much, but now
Except
who knows. I think I get to go twice in a row, so I'm gonna spread that rumor that Esther's trying to make a romantic connection with Constance. What other rumor can I do? Let me see. I know something about a connection that hasn't come up yet. That I'd like to get involved, that I had some ideas for. So Daniel, is looking to wed
your friend and mine.
Yeah. And he's been asking about Constance and Esther and Mortimer.
Oh my god, it keeps going.
I just want to, you know.
Just looking at my options.
Daniel's
Looking at my
options opened, not opened.
Oh man, that makes things tricky.
Yeah, so Daniel's looking to wed. He's been asking about Constance and Esther and Mortimer. That's my answer. So then it goes back to Xavery. Do you want to spread one of the ones that already exists, or do you want to make up a new one? And also, if you want to think about it, you can pass and let the next person go if you need time to think.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Okay, and then that goes to Tape.
We're late in this phase, but I was thinking of something related to Constance's new bad example thing.
That's true.
I was thinking of, so it's well known that in theory anyway, Constance is the one positioned to inherit from her family. And I was thinking of a rumor that either like her family is very mad at her right now because of all of these things, or just that like if she's kind of in charge of this family, she's going to run it into the ground.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah,
Shit.
so either, what are you thinking? Are you leaning more towards one over the other? Either her family is mad at her, or she's gonna run the Farthing Bottom estate into the ground.
I think it seems like it just is the case that her family isn't thrilled with her. So I think the more apt rumor thing maybe is that like Constance is really going to mess up her family's reputation.
If I may, I was considering something very similar for the second rumor, and I would, if I could propose, Hilda specifically, like kind of calling into question whether or not Constance is still a good fit to inherit. Like,
I honestly was thinking a similar thing, but I didn't necessarily want to go for something so closely related to another person's desire.
It's real big about Ariel.
But if you're into that, I mean, like that
does seem. Although no, you make a good point. The sort of Constance is not showing good leadership skills. Seems like the preface that would make Hilda start thinking, in addition to Philip's actions, like, maybe I should rethink this a little bit.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
Here's what I'll do, maybe just for the benefit of us remembering later, because just in case like this doesn't come up before the next time we play, which will be at least a month from now. Maybe I'll put in parentheses like Hilda like possibly thinking of another heir, something like that, just so we remember that that's the thread we wanted to use with this. But it doesn't have to be like part of the rumor explicitly.
Right.
That would maybe be helpful to
That's a good
me
idea.
as Hilda to be able to remember.
that's true.
Okay, possibly. Let me see. Hilda possibly
so dicey.
disinherit her. I didn't.
Yeah,
spell it.
it's truly a thing where I feel like I've contributed so significantly to damaging Constance's whole situation.
It's not even your goal. But you are friends with Philip,
No way.
so. Cool. Well then, either Mace, do you have something in mind, or Xavery, do you have a rumor in mind, or do you want to spread one of the ones that's here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna keep thinking, so Xavier, you can do it.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna spread the one about Daniel because that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I do want to get Daniel on the scene real bad.
For sure.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Then Mace, that's you. You can either make up a new one, or you can spread the rumor that you are running your family into the ground. Or spread the rumor that Mortimer pissed his pants at the funeral.
always on the table.
Well, not for
You
long.
could
Now that you mention it, not for too much
Not
longer.
for long, apparently. It's my last chance. It's my last chance.
Yeah.
Look, if that one goes away, the next time we
Man,
get to Rumor and Scandal, we can make a new one about
That's
Mortimer
true.
pissing himself.
You can make a new one.
Mortimer pissed himself at
What?
the store.
Mortimer pissed himself in the rain.
But how could you really tell? Oh gosh, all of these are so good and so well tied to the events of the chapter that I think I need to spread the one that Constance is gonna fuck her family name up.
I like that. Okay, then that's
Oh, it got so dicey.
That's the rumor and scandal phase. And then next is do we want to do the letter writing phase, or do we want to take a break? I'll leave it to you all to decide.
It seems like I don't know. I'll just to be open about the fact I have no idea who I want to write to, so a break also means I have a couple more minutes to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I want to figure that out.
Cool.
Maybe come back after a bit.
That sounds good. I will say also, just to give you other things to think about, we have all these juicy rumors with resolve tokens attached. So, I mean, some of you have a wealth of, I think Esther has like 4 resolve
It's like
tokens or
3
something.
or 4, yeah.
So some of you have plenty, but if you wanted to during the letter writing phase, if you want to have a letter arrive to you that's based on one of these rumors, you can spend the resolve token from the rumor and have it affect the story. Or if you want to have a letter sent to another player from a third party that's based on one of these rumors, you can spend that resolve token. Because I would like to see some of these rumors get into the mix. Or if you want to use one of these rumors to inform yourself writing a letter, or to inform someone's reaction to the letter. So like, let's say that Constance wanted to write a letter to Nicola about something and wanted Nicola to take a particular action as a result. Constance, you could unclick, take the resolve token from the rumor and offer it to Tag to say, I'm going to send you this letter. Will you pursue this action afterwards? So there's all sorts of things that you can do with the rumors and with your own reputation tags as well, with regards to resolve tokens, in addition to the ones that you just have on you. With that, I will really quickly give a couple of shout outs. Realist Mogul, thank you for the 100 bits. Appreciate it. And just because I always clarify this, if you wanted to give a resolve token to one of the players, it would just be another 100 bits. If you're just doing 100 bits to cheer, that's awesome. We really appreciate it. But I always like to clarify just in case someone was like, why am I not? Why aren't they doing the thing that I want? And then also thank you, Starburns, for the follow. We are going to take about, I think, a 10-minute break. So we will be back at my time. It'll be 4:55. And we're gonna get some, get drinks, snacks, take a stretch, use the restroom. I encourage you to do the same. And we'll be back in a little bit with more Arse and Farce. We will see you soon. Bye. Felicitations, adventurers. Welcome to Roll for Felicity. We are in the middle of playing our second session of Good Society, which is a Jane Austen themed tabletop RPG. We are in the thick of it. There has been drama. There has been heartbreak. There has been mistaken identities. Unaccompanied romantic visits of all shapes and sizes. It's been wild, and it's only gonna get more wild. My name is Taylor, if you're new here, and actually, even if you've been here for a while, my name is still Taylor. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the facilitator for this game, and also usually the person DMing or GMing other games that we play. And I also play video games. The thing I'm currently doing is on Tuesdays, I've been playing Phoenix Wright. And I'm about to start a new case this coming week, so I try out different character voices, things like that. And on Wednesdays, I've been trying this new thing called Game Master Helper, where you come and hang out and chat, and I talk about tabletop games, and we share tips. We talk about, if you're not trying to be like a professional game master, easy little things that you can do to spice up your game or improve your skills, that kind of thing. And then sometime this month, I really need to schedule this. I'm going to be running a one-shot using the Power Outage system, which is a like superhero-themed kind of thing. So I do all kinds of different stuff. That's all you need to know about me. Let's hear from. Let's see. We started with Savory last time, so this time we're starting with Mace. Do you want to reintroduce yourself to people who are just making it for our second half? And also, do you have anything that's stuff that you're doing apart from the stream that you want people to know about?
Oh boy. I am Mace, she, her pronouns. My mind just blanked. I'm a writer, and I specifically write poems, and I style them in the style of like little letters. I use them, I put them on a typewriter, and it's all vintagey and very mysterious and very cute. And I sell them in coffee shops all over the North Shore. So I also have an Instagram for it. So if you're interested in following that Instagram, I do online orders through DMs that way. And you can also let you know which coffee shops they're available in. So you can go and get one in person if you have access to the North Shore of Mass. They're cute. Take my word for it. It's great. That's all. Thank you.
That is all. Tag, I think you are next. You want to reintroduce yourself to people and let them know what else you got going on?
Hello again, I'm Tag. I use they, them pronouns. I am playing Nikola Popichka. And I have more tea. And I only mention that specifically because I'm drinking a Russian caravan tea. So that's the energy I bring to this stream, I guess. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram, if that's your thing, at Take the Bard. And you can also check out RPGs that I've written on my itch.io page, for which I'm sure there's a link somewhere available to you.
There is a link in chat.
Neat. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm currently working on a new game that I like bringing up because every time I describe it, it's the most indie RPG bullshit I have ever said aloud. Because it is a GM-less, tarot-based, cryptid dating sim. And that's just a fun set of words to say. And I'm probably going to be playtesting that soon. So that's exciting for me.
Very exciting. I always get excited when you talk about it. Xavery, what should people know about you if they missed the first half?
Hi, I'm Xavery, she, her. I'm playing the meddlesome Esther Peachtree today. I would like to give a shout out to my sister in chat,
Peeps!
And also to my mom who's watching. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
And yeah, I would also like to draw attention real quick to the line 3 pipeline. That's we're trying to halt progress on that right now. So if everyone could yeah, look what's going on. That's a new oil pipeline that's going from like Minnesota to Canada, and pipelines suck. We hate them. So yeah, we can use all the help we can. Just reaching out, call your politicians, and yeah, let's work on that.
Yeah, that is a very good thing to bring up because it's upsetting.
Turns out you can't drink oil, you guys.
You can't.
Bananas.
You can't.
Contrary to popular belief.
You can't and live, I suppose, we should say.
Yeah, I guess if you want to get really pedantic about it, you can. You shouldn't.
You
Once.
but you shouldn't. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, I'll mention this again in case anybody missed it at the beginning of the stream. You can affect the things that happened during the game tonight, or this afternoon. For 200 bits or $2, depending on whether you want to use Twitch currency or PayPal. Let me do this. You can give a resolve token to a player. That basically is the whole mechanical thing of the game. People use resolve tokens to accomplish things. So if you have somebody that you want to help with their devious little schemes, you can give them a resolve token, including me. So if you want me to be
the queen of devious little schemes.
You can do that. Or for 500 bits, if you have a devious scheme of your own, you can introduce it to the game by creating and spreading a rumor, which the players can also use as a source of resolve tokens and can affect the storyline. So if at any point you're like, oh, I think I have a spicy rumor to add, you can do 500 bits or $5, and just let me know what you want that rumor to be. And, you know, I do leave it up to my discretion. So if it's something that we've, like, you know, established that we don't want to be a part of the game, then I'll say, hey, it needs to be something else. But apart from that, you can make life even more difficult for our main characters. But their lives are plenty difficult. I'll briefly recap what's happened so far, which is mostly that Constance and Esther had a sweet little library date, which was not really a negative result for Constance, but Esther crossed her father by going, who does not like the peach trees. And then Constance had a horse riding date with Nicola Papitchka and Mortimer Farthingbottom, her I keep wanting to say twin, but triplet. That seemed to go well until Mortimer was left heartbroken, and then showed up at Nicola's door in the rain, and was very upset and delivered a illegible letter about his feelings. And that's pretty much where he left off. We have some rumors going, but those will come up, I think, organically. And then also the lingering question of where is Philip Farthingbottom, which was not directly addressed in a rumor, but no one quite knows where Philip is. We know where Arielle is. I don't want that to come across as, like, shade, like, where...
Where is Philip Farthingbottom today?
But we don't know where Philip is. And we're gonna, with that, I think, jump right back into the game proper, because we are all sitting in front of hot computers and we want to get on with things. So So let's jump into
Drinking hot tea. Why did I brag
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah,
That's
no.
actually
Every
planned.
time I brew hot tea
I'm drinking
during this
cold tea.
summertime streaming party, I kick myself,
I
but I
know.
simply must.
It's terrible choices we've made. Do you want to make more terrible choices? Do you all have any letters that you want
Oh,
to get
yes.
going?
Absolutely. That's all I want to do.
Oh yes.
Does anyone have stuff that they want to do with letters? You can write up to 2, or compel others to write, or solicit letters. There's all sorts of things you can do with the letter writing section.
Rumors again. Now that we know this is a thing we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check over the... Oh, and I need to cross out 2 of them that did not get spread. That's how you do it. Gone are the days when everyone was talking about how Mortimer pissed himself at the funeral. Now everyone's talking about how Mortimer is an eligible and rash bachelor.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love that every
Tempestuous
rumor
sort.
makes Mortimer so much more exciting than he is in any.
And he's
material
a
way.
secondary
That's
character
so
that
good.
I'm playing. Like, he really... he's not really supposed to be...
So cool.
All I'm hearing is star of the show.
Yeah, that's true. I am an attention hog.
Yeah. And I kind of wanted to know what Mortimer actually wrote in that letter.
I know.
So
right?
I wanted to say maybe I could use a resolve token to get him to write another one. Like, he hears the rumors that everyone thinks it's Philip, and he's like, first come,
No, hang on.
now Philip.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After I poured my heart out.
Yeah.
Melanie just
maybe-
called me a nasty little lady hog, which I don't know.
Jesus. Jesus.
This is getting to the point of internet harassment, I think.
Yeah.
It is asterisked out in my view of the chat, so I was you the first to let me know what that actually says.
So Twitch is also viewing this as hateful. Okay, so Xavery, you
Jeez
want
Louise.
to spend a resolve token to have Mortimer write a clarification letter.
Yeah.
Now don't get it twisted.
What do you want the letter? Who do you want the letter to go to? I guess is my first question.
To Nicola.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so go ahead. I will accept. It's also up to you because technically you can dictate the contents of the letter. So if you would like to dictate the contents of this, since it hasn't been established, you can. But also if you just wanted to know what Mortimer originally said and you don't want to have to do that, that's fine too.
No, I just want to know what he originally said. I just want him to be like, to be clear, like, this.
Awesome. Yeah, okay, so go ahead and take, I think you already took off your resolve token. I will
Yeah.
take one for, Mortimer, which will be fun. Cool. Okay, so Mortimer's letter, now I have to think of what this letter would have said, because I was just thinking it would be illegible. I think it does start off with something like, what honorific do you think Nicola uses? Because I don't think Mortimer would call you Nicola at this point because he's mad at you.
Interesting.
Or if there's something like more formal that Nicola would go by.
I had not thought about this, and truly I should have.
I wonder if there's a term for like a member of the ballet.
That's what I was
like,
wondering
depending on
too.
where
Let me
you would
look up.
be, like primo, or if you were the star of the
yeah.
ballet, or if you were just a back dancer,
Gosh, interesting.
or if that would be different because it would be a Russian word.
Yeah. Oh boy, really wrote myself into a corner here.
Dear foreigner.
Dear
But it
local
wouldn't
foreign
say
person.
dear because Mortimer's upset, so it would just say foreigner.
Hey,
Foreigner.
Foreigner Propitchka.
Hey, foreigner.
You can also make something up. I mean, like, you know.
Yeah, God. Boy, I don't. I simply don't know.
I'm looking at ballet terms to see if there's anything like.
I mean, we could be lazy about it and instead of trying desperately to scramble to figure out what a proper name for a Russian ballet dancer is, it could just be, you know, MX.
Yeah, we can do mix.
I think that's probably the easiest since we didn't think about this at all.
Yeah, for now at least we'll do MX, and then if you think of something different that you would prefer, you know, just let me know. And thank you, Realist Mogul, for the other 100 bits. Nicola, if you didn't already during the break, you can give yourself, I think you already did. It looks like you did.
I think I did, yes.
Give yourself a resolve token. Appreciate it so much.
So very kind. Thank you so much.
So yeah, you get a letter, I think maybe a couple days after this initially happens with Mortimer, that just says, Mix Papichka. It has come to my attention that my visit to you did not go unnoticed and has been misinterpreted by some. To be clear, it was not Philip who called upon you that rainy night.
That's so I know.
It was, in fact, myself. And in case the letter had been damaged in any way, it was simply conveying to you that if you were looking for a prospect in me, that honor has been taken from you based upon your actions with my sister, Constance. And then it just at the end says, Mr. Farthingbottom. Or M. Farthingbottom, I think. So you know that it's not Philip.
Which I think...
He probably did, like, Mr. Farthingbottom, scratch, M. Farthingbottom.
Yeah.
Boy, just scratches out the R in Mr.
Yeah.
This is useful, too, because I think Nicola forgot that even happened, probably, at some point in the preceding days.
Poor Mortimer.
Oh, gosh. Okay. What is so funny to me is that doesn't do anything to fix the rumor, because I knew that it was him.
Yeah, but
It's
isn't
such a
it
him
great
thing,
that
though.
he thought there was a chance that you thought that it
That
was...
I didn't know. Yeah, that's the saddest thing about Mortimer yet.
Look, I know you were there, but people have been talking.
I know I look a lot like Philip.
That's so funny.
Oh, no.
What's interesting to me, now that we're in this epistolary phase, is that I was trying very hard to think about who Nicola would write to. And it is a bit tricky. There's a part of me that thinks they want to try to diffuse this situation a little bit. And then there's the goblin-y part of my brain that's like, but what if I theoretically just make it worse?
Always an option.
Always an option.
I mean, we are at the midpoint, so honestly, making things worse for your characters
Feels good.
Yeah, it's kind of encouraged. I don't want to be the only nasty lady hog on stream.
There's room enough for us all to be nasty lady hogs, I think.
I'd agree.
My thought about a letter for Nicola to write was for them to maybe think, okay, I can see how trying to date both of these people at once while they were at the same place maybe it was a misstep.
Perhaps.
It seemed like it was just being economical at the time, and now I see what I've done wrong. So my thought is that maybe they're like, okay, well, I've come out of this with Mortimer mad at me, and that's just what it is right now. That's fine. Here's the other thing I've been playing with this whole time is that Nicola is completely oblivious to how much Esther hates them. And that is like a third entity who, it's like there are some rumors that maybe I was interested in Esther, so what if Nicola tries to write a letter to Esther, who I take the real human being knows she will hate?
It would be fun.
That sounds fun to me. Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I think Nicola's going to try and write to Esther, because we have met at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they are just basically writing to Esther saying, Miss Peachtree, although we are not well acquainted, you seem a sensible and kind lady whose acquaintance I would like very much to make more formally. I am well aware that my reputation in the town is becoming decreasingly sterling, but I would like to assure you that I do not come to this place with any negative motives, and simply am looking to make more and deeper friendships while I am here. And I wonder if I might ask you for your friendship. Something to that effect.
I like that a lot. Other letters. Do people have things in mind for other letters? Also, it's unclear to me. I normally don't write a letter in this phase unless like prompted to. But based on the rules, it's unclear whether I'm forbidden from it, and I do kind of have something that I'm thinking about. But I kind of want to see how other letters go, so I have nasty plans in mind, is what I'm saying.
Nasty lady.
Nasty lady plans.
I did think they were gonna ask Esther like for advice on how to be better friends with Constance.
That would have been so good, and would have made things maybe even worse. Gosh, is that better?
You can also, if Savory is trying to compel you to change the contents of your letter, you could demand a resolve token in exchange.
Oh boy. I just gather all of the resolve tokens from everyone.
I just think that would be so funny.
That's so good. That is better than what I was thinking. I do love the idea of also asking for a resolve token though. So like either I'm probably making things more complicated by now trying to befriend you, this person who definitely hates me and I barely know. Which is fun. Or if you're willing to give me a resolve token, I'm straight up just asking you for advice on my relationship with Constance. Yeah. Since everyone knows that you two are friends.
Oh.
Bosom buddies, you might say.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll use these for good purposes.
Do you wanna give Nicola a resolve token to change the letter, or do you wanna leave things how they are?
Yeah, no, I already.
Oh, you already took it off.
Over.
It's already in the bank, I see.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
We've already made the transaction.
When I was looking away. Awesome. Okay, so then Tag, what do you want the letter to say then instead? Or is it just conveying the general contents fine?
I think it's a lot of the letter I think is similar to what I said before. I'm trying to assure this person like, listen, I'm not so bad. Uh, and with my purest intentions, perhaps you have heard that I have recently befriended the Lady Constance Furthingbottom. Everyone, of course, knows that the two of you are very, very close from long ago. And I thought perhaps you could give to me some advice on perhaps getting closer to Constance Furthingbottom. So putting myself squarely in your debt, Nikola Babichka.
Wonderful.
Hachi
great.
Machi.
So I think that's one letter from Nicola. That's one letter. I think the Mortimer counts as one of Xavery's, generally speaking. So Xavery, you can write another letter. Constance, you have 2 letters, and Nicola, you have 1 more that you can write. You don't have to write 2, but you can write up to 2.
Right.
Or compel others to write, I suppose I should add as well.
Oh boy, I don't know.
If you all are thinking, I have something that I'm trying to, maybe I'll run it by you all, because it would impact primarily Esther. I think would get some tokens for this, because I got 3 juicy little tokens as facilitator, and I also have 2 tokens as Hilda, who I think I am interested in doing this.
Flush with tokens.
I've got so many tokens I don't even know what to do with myself. So here's what I think I would like to do. At least one of these things would require a token. From Hilda. I would like for Hilda to have discovered, maybe through speaking with other people, perhaps maybe through Grant, or just other people who were there. I would like for Hilda to discover that Esther has really been making a lot of this thing between her and Nicola, that Nicola was forward and inappropriate, which is not true. And so Hilda has kind of embarrassed herself by apologizing to you and, having a negative opinion of poor Nicola, who didn't even do anything.
An angel.
An angel. So Hilda would be giving you a resolve token to have found that out, because I think that does pretty negatively impact your character.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So that's the offer I'm extending to you. A resolve token in exchange for...
It's becoming so clear to me in this moment that Esther is the protagonist of this story.
You're all protagonists, come on.
Main character.
I don't know.
I think we agree that Mortimer is the main character. But yeah,
Misadventures.
Do you accept my offer?
Yes, for sure.
Cool, okay. I
Very
will
fun.
give you a resolve token. I will spend one from Hilda. And I think the way that you find out about this is through a letter from Hilda, which begins ominously Ms. Peachtree as opposed to
Ooh.
Esther. And I think actually, yeah, okay, so I think it says Ms. Peachtree. Let me get into Hilda's voice. No, actually, I'm not going to get into Hilda's voice. This is what it's going to be. Ms. Peachtree, this letter is to inform you on behalf of Lady Hilda Farthingbottom that due to your misrepresentation of certain events at the late Lord Farthingbottom, the late Lord Farthingbottom's funeral, that just as Philip has been unfairly removed from the Peachtree residence, so too does that restriction apply to Ms. Peachtree at the Farthingbottom Estates.
Oh.
And then it says at the end, from the desk of Lady Hilda Farthingbottom, and then it indicates that it's written by someone else. Like, Hilda didn't even write this. She just ordered someone on her staff to do it. And then her signature at the bottom having signed off on it. And I think that is how the of no importance partially is going to come in as well. But yeah, you have this letter from Hilda saying, or Lady Farthingbottom to you, that you are no longer welcome at their estate. That's my move for the letter writing. So does that change anyone's letters that they were planning to write?
Oh man. God. Part of my instinct is to not follow the voice in my brain that's just popped up. However, I've also just remembered that one of the things people wanted was a bit of a mustache twirling villain kind of vibe from somebody. And if, oh boy, my other thought for a letter had been to write to Hilda and try and sort of smooth things over with the Farthingbottoms for Nicola. And it feels like following that instinct, with that being out on the table on Esther's plate, so maybe sort of drives the knife in a little further there, if I'm also just trying to, like, you know, get the Farthingbottoms as kind of a unit, like
back on your side.
Back on my side.
Yeah, I was thinking that possibly, I don't know exactly who this would be. I was gonna say Grant, but Grant wasn't at the funeral.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So if you want to just be aware of this falling out, which I think probably a lot of people would know about, it seems like Hilda is, you know, not very happy with Esther. So if you want to have knowledge of this, I would say, I think, just spend a resolve token into the ether to know about this going on. And then you could write a letter based on
I'm
that.
happy to do that. Yeah, I don't think that Nicola has necessarily, like, specifically ill will towards Esther, but I think that they are fine with Esther being kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Collateral damage.
Terrible.
Oh,
Oh no, Xavier.
oh, what's the word?
Savory, I want to be clear. I think you're wonderful. I just feel really like I need to
just
say
keep
that.
in mind, Xavier's sister and mom are watching the stream.
I feel sharply aware of that fact at this moment.
And Xavier's mom gave you a
boy,
result.
You just
token.
try to spread nasty.
I just
rumors,
spent
ruin
that
someone's
resolve
reputation,
token.
and all of a sudden you're collateral.
I just spent the resolve
What
token I
could
got
you have
from
done to
your
deserve
mom
this?
to know.
If it isn't the consequences of my own actions. Yeah, what's Nicola writing? Are you writing to Hilda? To Lady Farthingbottom?
I think I'm writing to Lady Farthingbottom, which feels like, I mean, I feel like I'm leaning in a little bit too uncouth and overly familiar here because, like,
That's true.
she's like so far above my station.
Yeah.
And I think I'm addressing it directly to her, despite that fact.
Sounds good.
Peeves says it's fine for me to be terrible to Esther, so I guess I'm in the clear.
Your own sister.
I am so gonna have to make it up to Xavery if I run another Wizard Pals stream with her.
Yeah.
Let's see. What would Nicola say to Hilda? I don't know. I don't know if I want to find specific wording here because I feel
That's
like
fine.
I would be trying to be very careful about my wording, but I think they're just trying to, um, that the same sort of vibe that I was like starting out the letter to Esther with, like trying to say like, I know that some things have been said about me, but I want to be really clear that my intentions are not nefarious ones. And maybe even apologize for the apologizing to Hilda about the reflection of the what seemed to be a misunderstanding about the situation with Constance and with Mortimer, and certainly it wasn't Philip. I don't know where your son is, the one.
Don't know where you're...
Please don't ask me.
Don't ask
don't
me.
know.
I cannot tell you.
Yeah. Cool. I like that. That's a good letter. Mace, do you have ideas for letters? Or Xavier, I think you have one more that you can do if you'd like. But Tag is all done.
Done. I'm gonna
Written
mute
all the letters
myself
they
now.
can.
I think that I don't know if I have any like specifically a letter to write, but in that kind of like kind of in that vein, I just wanted to like maybe send a quick note to my father being like, I can explain this, it's not what you think. Like
Just slip it under the door.
yeah. Yeah, just like
Dad, let me in.
Yeah,
Dad.
they would say these things about me. And I think from that point, she's like, you are totally right. These farthing bottoms are not worth the trouble. Like, they're really mean to me. Daddy.
I love that. Yeah, I think...
This sucks.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide whether... I think if you want to just write that letter and have that be it, and we'll see how that plays out, you don't have to spend a resolve token. If you want to, I'll say that I would take a resolve token from you on behalf of William Peachtree, if you wanted it to be that you are back in his good graces. So you still have the, oh, actually, here's a perfect way you could do this. You could spend your negative tag unfortunate connections to have your father be back in his good graces, and then by the time we get to the next reputation phase, you will lose the of no importance reputation condition unless you get another negative tag.
We'll
see.
That will happen.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay.
I have a question. I realize we established that I am done at this point. I am done with letters.
Yes, you are.
I didn't. This is fully a question, and 100% feel free to say no to this. I didn't realize that we can actually spend from our own negative tags.
You can, yeah. I think I kind of actually did it wrong just then, but that's fine. You can spend from your... Because I think when you spend from your own negative tag, it's supposed to negatively impact you, but I just think the unfortunate connection is, like, too ripe for reconciling with the father, so I'm kind of doing it wrong, but go ahead and let me know what you were thinking.
Plus, it is kind of like she's totally giving up her relationship.
That's true.
For sure.
That's
No,
true.
that's a huge...
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to this, but that feels like fertile grounds for a positive tag later in upkeep.
Yeah.
For Esther,
so,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Defo.
I was just curious if with the letter to Hilda, who again I feel like I maybe shouldn't be directly writing to, if the uncouth or overly familiar
yeah, I think writing directly to Hilda, you could use overly familiar in that you were writing directly to her instead of like going through some other things. And actually, I think if you do that, you can strike out overly familiar. I think leave it on just so I know that you still have fracture, because we haven't gotten to another reputation phase. I just erased Xavery's because rebellious is still in the third mark, so I won't get confused. And I'll say you can use that reputation token to give to Lady Hilda that your letter to her is received favorably.
Yeah.
So that is
I
more
would
of
love
like
to do
a,
that.
you know, compelling for her. Yeah, I think we're using negative tokens slightly wrong, but I'm fine with it. I think it's interesting to do it the way that we're doing it. Cool. So that just leaves Constance. You've got an open field to do whatever you like, as long as you do it within 2 letters.
I sure do. I would like to start by spending one of my resolve tokens to receive a letter from Daniel regarding. Or wait a minute, no, this is what we talked about with the rumor.
Yeah, you could use the rumor.
In that case, could I expend the rumor's resolve token to receive a letter from Daniel regarding, like, specifically the subject of the rumor?
Yeah, you can. So I will strike this one out. And uncheck the spread mark, I think, just to keep track. Yeah, what do you want the contents of the letter to be? Because since you're doing it,
I can dictate.
You get to dictate it. Yeah, I can reject because I'm controlling Daniel, but spoilers, I probably won't.
Before I take it in this direction, does Constance know that Hilda has banned Esther from the estate, and like that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I think I would like a letter from Daniel reconnecting with Constance about, like, hey, want to see how you've been doing. I know that you've really missed, school world. Jesus.
School
Jewels
world.
for money. How do I interpret?
I've heard you're missing School World, the alternate dimension where I live.
Which level of Super
Interpret
Mario
for
Brothers
money.
is that?
Well, it's like it's like trying to reconnect and all of that, and subtly implying that he has a personal reason to want to reconnect with Constance and wants to discuss that with her when he comes to town.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think I will go ahead and take a resolve token to actually. Here's what I'll do. I'll say I will accept it with the condition that Daniel also asks about how Esther is doing.
Absolutely.
Cool.
For sure.
And actually, just to get the rumor's worth, at the very end, very casually mentions that they've heard that Mortimer has grown into quite the eligible bachelor. And so just kind of slips it in at the end, a little,
P.S.
A little, P.S. I think it is a P.S. P.S. I've heard that Mortimer has grown into quite the eligible bachelor. Yes, so you received this letter from Daniel that is mostly about you and very kind of flattering, like flowery kind of language. About missing, your times as school chums and things like that. And then towards the end mentions having not heard from Esther in quite a while, and maybe some anecdote about, some time enjoyed with Esther. And then P.S. How's Mortimer?
Yes, how's Mortimer?
How's Mortimer
doing
doing?
these days?
Definitely haven't heard that he peed his pants.
that rumor's faded. It didn't
I never heard of that one.
Definitely.
It didn't catch anyone's
I
attention.
hope he
hasn't
hasn't
heard
peed
of
his pants lately.
But yeah, Constance, you received that letter. Is there anything else that you want to do during the letter writing phase?
In case we don't get to it, for starter, I think I'd like to respond to Daniel.
Okay.
As one of my letters.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And I would like to. I think Constance is writing this like trying to sound more psyched than she is, but like the combination of seeing what Mortimer did and realizing that she's not in a great light right now, and now Esther is like just fully not in her life anymore, just writes to Daniel like, yes, I would be so pleased to meet up with you again. I must admit, I am of a similar mind these days and would love to hear what you have to say. Affectionate friend, Constance. And
affectionate.
I think she like holds for a minute. It's like just goes for affectionate. And last letter.
I think that's 2 for you because you compelled.
Oh, that's
one.
right. That's right.
You compelled one
and then I wrote one. That's for the best because I didn't have another idea.
Well, then good. That works out perfectly.
But that's it.
Okay, cool. So the next thing that we would have, I would love to try to get through a novel phase and then quickly reputation, so we don't lose track of what we're doing. Does anyone know what they would like to do during the novel phase? It seems like probably visiting makes the most sense. Have more splits ups. But if there's an event that you all would like to do, you know, that could be good too, because then Hilda's in the same place as all these people who have fractured relationships with each other are in the same place. So that actually could be fun as well. What are we thinking?
I wonder if it's at like church one day. Everybody's at church.
Ooh.
Because everyone's in the same room. And there's, I don't know if this most certainly wasn't a thing, but like I'm thinking of how they have like a little coffee and snacks hour after church, which I think is the cutest. So that would be a reason to be talking and not praying and just all being in the same spot.
Yeah, let's I think I like that, unless Esther and Nicola, if you strongly object. That is fun because we get to do something that we kind of did with the funeral and have it be like a little bit split. What is everyone wearing at the church service? And I think the other question I'll ask is, what significant glances filled with hidden meaning are exchanged as you're all in the same place? And I'll remind you all that I think Constance and Esther both have monologue tokens to spend.
Yes.
I have a question. This might be something Mace knows, hopefully. What type of church is likelier? I'm just thinking about the fact that I'm pretty sure that at this point in history, I am still coming from a place that is heavily like Orthodox Catholic.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I don't know what church people in this town. I don't think that, let me be clear, that Nicola is like uncomfortable with that fact. I think they're probably curious more than anything. It's just like another thing that's different from home.
I don't know. That's not really that's not really my nook.
I'm looking it up real quick. I believe it would have been the Anglican Church.
That seems to make sense.
That makes sense.
I know that there are several like clergy folk in Austen novels who like can and attempt to marry and things like that.
Yeah, and
right,
also that's kind of interesting. I might be completely wrong about this, but like Anglican also is like kind of Catholic, kind of not Catholic, because the whole purpose of the Anglican Church was so that King George could get divorced, right? Like that was like kind of. Am I wrong about this?
No, you're right. The Anglican Church, I understand you've come around to my other little nook of history, which is the late 17th century. The reason that the Puritans, those bastards, seceded from the Anglican Church is because even after the Reformation, they were like, it's still too Catholic, fuck this. Made their own thing.
Yeah.
And then caused the witch trials all by themselves.
Yeah.
So you're right. The Anglican Church is the sort of general our baseline church, and it is got a little bit of Catholic spice in there.
Yeah.
So yes.
Also, just to clarify, so I don't get any tweets, I said King George, but it would have been Henry, I think, not George. Henry VIII. Yeah. So I think that answers the question.
Yeah, for sure. Gosh, what in the hell would Nicola be wearing?
Melanie is asking, I don't know if you noticed this. Melanie says,
I noticed this, yeah. How fancy is their rosary?
Yeah.
It's an incredible question, and I think the answer is needlessly.
Good.
You came
loud so hard you knock your camera over.
Well, I think that does play in a little bit. I think that I think of the Russian Orthodox Church as being like fairly intense.
Yeah.
For the most part. So I think that Nicola is like maybe pleasantly surprised at the fact that it feels less dire to be at an Anglican service. And is maybe like overdressed for it, with an incredibly fancy rosary.
I like that.
I don't know what that looks like exactly. I simply don't know what Russian people in the early part of the 19th century would have been wearing to a service, but it's too much. I'll say that. That's true of most of their outfits, I feel like.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, what about Constance and Esther? I think I will make the executive call. Mortimer is not here, number one, because he is terribly ill.
Oh yeah.
Lady Farthingbottom is here. And I think this is the first time that Esther and Lady Farthingbottom have been, and as well as Mr. Peachtree, have been in the same place together. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, what are Constance and Esther wearing, and like, are there any significant glances?
Yeah, I think that Esther is just dressed as like innocently as possible, like even just like on the right side of the line, like leaning into childish a little bit, just very, very like how dare anyone say anything bad about the young lady. Like,
oh man,
I wish
that's
this
the impression.
What a web we're weaving.
I wish this was a Catholic church, because I love the idea of there being like like, you know how they have like the what is the even thing I'm thinking of? But they have the like halo, what is the word? I can't think of like the religious...
I don't know what the word is, but
icon,
like they have this photo
right? Isn't it an icon? Like iconography. But like if this was Catholic, I would love the idea of it being like behind Esther, and so you just see the halo.
Yeah.
maybe the bonnet is trimmed with like a yellow ribbon, so it just makes a little halo around.
Very
Very
Byzantine.
Very good.
Oh shit.
What about Constance?
Constance, as a stark contrast, is dressed as maturely as possible. And that's not to say like XX mature content, but like if
Nobody
anything,
thought that.
I don't know.
Clarify.
Just to be clear, But like she has like almost emulating like the dress of an unmarried woman versus a married woman is a little bit just ever so slightly different. And I think that she's actually like incorporating bits of her wardrobe to emulate a married woman, to be like, look, everybody, I'm still sensible. I think that if like she's got like a sort of a high chemisette, she's got like a bonnet with like a sort of ruffle around to emulate the sort of ruffled caps that married women wear. And I think that she has brought like her nicest quality prayer book with her, just as like holding on to it. And she is just dishing out meaningful glances. I think one to Esther as they're kind of in the pew, and I bet that like Hilda is on her side, and then one further over from Esther is Esther's father. So there's literally parents between them. And I think that like
Yes.
she looks at her for a second and like starts to smile, and then kind of just like, huh, and just turns a page instead. And then I think maybe as we're exiting the church, I think she'd like to dish a glance to Nicola before.
What is Esther's response to this meaningful glance from Constance?
I think I kind of just like look back for a second like this, and then I'm just like very like resolved not to say anything.
Oh.
Mr. Peachtree.
I'm so sad, y'all.
Mr. Peachtree gives you like is not looking at you, but doing that parent thing where he's keenly aware of what's going on. And as you steel yourself and like look back at the Reverend or whatever it is, he gives you without looking at you, gives you a pat on the back, Esther.
Oof.
Oh man.
I want to be clear that Constance and Esther is the pair of characters that I take the actual human being and like most in favor of. So the fact that I'm fucking this up a little bit extra is like a fun trip I'm taking in my brain.
It's more fun if there's conflict. Come on. This
For
is
sure.
Screenwriting
It's-
101.
I'm making the right moves. It's just hurting me to do so.
Yeah. Speaking of Nicola, what's Nicola? Are there any glances?
For sure. I think that well, what's weird about Nicola is that I think they don't really have anyone to sit with in a weird way. Even though they try to be sort of like charming and personable, you know, on the surface at least. I think they're like, okay, I've maybe made some missteps up to this point.
Yeah.
And I think when they come in, they are most likely to kind of sit like alone and further back a little bit in the pews, and just kind of like, we're gonna be a little bit careful in this scenario. I think if they can, you know, make eye contact with Hilda at some point, they probably want to, you know, just like very politely like give like a smile and a nod of like, you know, greeting and just trying to be I don't know, non-threatening, I guess.
Hilda gives you the tiniest smile and then immediately snaps her fan open to kind of cover her face and fan herself.
I'll take it.
So dramatic.
Esther. Oh no, sorry. Go ahead, Nicola. I was gonna ask if Esther had looks to dish or.
Oh,
or
I was just gonna mention. I mean, if Constance sort of like on the way out of the church was trying to make a glance at Nicola, surely they would again like probably trying to be relatively subtle and polite about it, but would for sure like, you know, try and meet eyes with Constance most likely.
Nice. And yeah, what about Esther? We described the moment between you, Constance, and your father. Is there any other little subtle things that Esther is doing during the service? I almost said ceremony.
No, I think if Nicola is sitting behind, then Esther would just be like staring straight ahead, like just pretending to be very focused on the service.
I think if
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm sure Nicola would like have been delighted to like have any kind of interaction with Esther, and I think they simply would not have a chance to.
Yeah.
I think she so effectively cold shoulders them.
Yeah, and you just wrote her this letter that's like, what kind of, and then no response, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if this was a BBC miniseries, there would be like the droning of the Reverend speaking, and it would just be like some music that's like starts off kind of light and airy, and then just starts to get a little bit like, changes key a little bit, and it's just these shots of like people looking at each other, fans coming out, people's hands, people's eyes, quick smiles, that sort of thing. And that's the service, but we do have this little tea afterwards at the church. Is there anything else that people want to do during this novel phase? Or do people have monologue tokens that they want to spend?
Is James there? Because I kind of think that
James is there.
Esther wants to talk to James, who is her only friend left, except he kind of like wants to be like plotting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said James is there. I was thinking you were talking about Daniel. It's up to Tag, I think, if James is there. I got Daniel and James.
Oh, right.
James is the friend from Oxford who is
the amateur
former boxer who offered to beat Nicola up last time.
See, that's like I want to talk to them and try to like plot revenge against Nicola, because like I don't have any proof that they have anything to do with this. I just don't like Nicola, and I want to get revenge.
For sure.
Yeah, I like that.
We talked about this briefly before stream, but last time James was there, Taylor, you ended up playing James.
Yes.
If James is here, should I?
Yeah, you should play James.
Get in as James. Yeah. I kind of love that, and the fact that they did previously show up with kind of like a, they were so down to like get revenge on Esther's behalf. I think it's too fun for James not to be here.
Yeah.
My headcanon for James is that the Cockney accent is fully an affectation to be more respected as a boxer.
That would explain my hackneyed job at doing a Cockney accent.
He's not good at it.
James.
You said him, so I think that's just canon.
What James looks like.
Right, Miss Esther?
Yeah, okay, so James, I don't know if you've heard everything that's been going on. None of it is true, obviously. Someone around here has been working against me.
Working against you, Miss Esther? Who would ever do such a thing? You're such a delightful young lady.
I think we both know who it probably is.
And just immediately, like, eyes lock on Nicola.
Just minding their business across.
just sort of sitting with some tea.
Yeah. So obviously I can't let this stand. My reputation, my family is at stake. They shouldn't even be here. We have to do something.
Right. What do you think? Try and round up some friends and run them out of town on a literal rail, perhaps?
Oh, I'm I'm sure I wouldn't know, James. Whatever you think is probably best. I trust your judgment in this situation.
Right, Miss Esther. Wink's as good as a nudge to a blind bat.
All I did was, try to help this foreigner learn our customs. And now
Terrible.
everybody is assuming that I have some, like nefarious intentions.
Terrible. Now, never you mind that, Miss Esther. We'll find something to do. And James like pulls out a handkerchief and hands it to Esther.
Oh.
Oh my god. I love this.
I take
so
it back.
much.
Esther is not the protagonist.
She's been the villain the whole time.
She's been.
Great. I think what was needed to have been
They
accomplished.
don't even go here.
Don't
weren't
even
supposed-
go here.
Weren't even supposed to be here. Cool. What else do people want to do at this post-church tea?
Um,
Trying to think
if
there's anything-
Daniel is here,
Daniel is here. That's what
Daniel's
I meant
here by
to
now?
say earlier. Yeah.
tight. I bet he's probably here then with the Farthing Bottoms because he was going to hang out with them.
Yeah.
Or he might be here on his own. I don't know if he's staying with the Farthing Bottoms necessarily.
But
But if he wants to talk to all three of us, he's gonna have to do it separately.
do you?
We're not mingling.
Do you want Daniel to be staying with the Farthing Bottoms?
I bet since they're a like a school friend, and he was asking about both Constance and Mortimer, and maybe said something to Hilda about Esther. She was just like, "Don't bother, stay with us."
Cool. Go ahead and.
Well, I bet he is staying.
I will accept that James, or sorry, I don't know why I keep wanting to call this character James. Daniel, is staying with the Farthing Bottoms if you give me a resolve token for it.
Okay, yeah, that makes it dicier. I will give you that resolve token.
Daniel, who's kind of this spoiler, renegade bachelor, has 4 resolve tokens to play with.
Oh no.
Powerful.
A powerful young person. Cool. Okay, so so Daniel is here. Daniel has been staying with your family. So I think maybe was sitting with you and Lady Farthingbottom. And so is kind of hanging around at the tea with you, and kind of looking around. And I think actually we'll cut in with him saying, and I think I'm trying to decide. I don't think he would call you Constance. I think he would call you Ms. Farthingbottom, because you were friends, but also you've gotten older, and he's kind of maybe interested in dating you. So I think maybe he would adopt a little bit of a more, and your mom is there. Like right there.
My mom's right here.
Right there.
Yeah. So he kind of, you're drinking your tea, and he says, now, Miss Farthingbottom, you had indicated earlier today that something had gone sour between yourself and Miss Peachtree?
Daniel, Esther and I have always been very close, and try to remain close despite the woes of our families. One would always like to surround themselves with comfortable things that remind them of such happy days, but sometimes those things just don't last. And one must look to the future, that's all. So those things are good for remembering, are they not?
I certainly have
We'll kind of just sit.
fond memories with the both of you. If you don't mind my asking, has something happened? I had thought to visit Ms. Peachtree, but perhaps I've heard tell that her reputation has been a bit soured. I always thought of her as being quite a bright student. But it seems that it may be the case that I don't know. I've just heard things.
Esther is a very intelligent young woman, one that I respect deeply and have a great deal of fond memories of. The unfortunate news, so I'm told, is that she has been taking some very cruel actions towards a family friend, and she's kind of like looking at Esther and like choosing her words so carefully, and says, I think perhaps it would be best to advise you to wait until she's had some time to reflect to visit Miss Peachtree.
Ah, I see.
Perhaps she needs a bit more time to consider how her actions affect other people. And then I'm sure she'd be happy to receive a visit from you.
Well, I must say I'm sorry to hear that that is the case. However, perhaps I'll wait to call upon her. It's quite a shame. I had thought to occupy my time with visiting yourself and Esther and dear Mortimer, but it seems that
Dear boy is so laid up with that illness. I'm sure that your company will heal him quickly, however.
Yes, I suppose perhaps when we get back I'll spend some time perhaps reading aloud to him or something of the sort that's sure to raise his spirits.
I'm sure he would really, truly enjoy that. Afterward, though, you're welcome to take a turn with me in the garden. Use some fresh air.
I think... I don't know if this is exactly how this works, but I think it's fun. I would like to take off one of your negative reputation tags, as being reckless, so that Daniel, politely declines, having heard that you've been spending time unaccompanied with people and doesn't want to continue with that. Which is good news, bad news, kind of this interaction. So I'm gonna X out reckless, I think, since that's where that came from. So James, so you offer that, and James says, my dear Miss Farthingbottom, as much as I've enjoyed your friendship over the years, I think we both know we're both getting on in age past the time when a turnabout the garden would be considered appropriate. We're no longer as young as we once were.
Of course. Forgive me. I didn't mean to imply anything on.
Oh, nothing implied. I would be happy to spend some time, perhaps when Philip gets back from wherever he is. We could have a jolly old time together.
Perhaps one of these days. Although Philip has never been one for academia or meditation or anything of the like. Maybe we can come up with something a bit more exciting to hold his attention.
Yes, quite. Well, I do have a few other people I'd wanted to greet while I'm in town, if you don't mind.
Of course. Perhaps, speaking of exciting people, friends of Philip's, I invite you to introduce yourself to that individual over there, Nicola Popichka. Very interesting person.
Yeah, I think...
I'm sure you like them very much.
James nods, takes their leave, and is headed toward Nicola. But I will say, Esther, you are here, and you do see James, who is an old friend. who is not
Daniel?
on
Wait,
their way
Daniel?
to... Daniel, sorry. I keep saying
Okay.
James. I don't know why I keep saying this. Daniel.
Is
Daniel
also an
twins.
old school friend, so that
I
I'm
think-
sure is part of the confusion.
I think it's because in the other game that I'm running off stream, because there's 2 Jameses in the connection, and I think there's a character who's someone's school friend who's named James in that game. I think that's why I'm doing this. Daniel is not on their way to talk to you, Esther, but is here in case you wanted to, intercept.
I think that I kind of start to go greet Daniel. But before I can even do a little curtsy or whatever, I see that they're going directly in Nicola's direction, and I'm just and I look at James and I'm like, did you see this?
I thought this was Mortimer's origin story. This is Esther's villain origin story.
God,
She's
honestly.
gonna become a crime lord by the end of this novel.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. Okay. What a weird position to put myself in. I think James is going to take that as some sort of go ahead, and it's not going to be not in a attacking someone kind of way, certainly, but I think
Not
James,
at church.
not in church. Come on. I think James. I'm trying to decide. Would James just try and beeline and bump into Daniel and start a conversation there, or? Yeah, I think James is going to just very brusquely try and kind of intercept Daniel and catch him in conversation so that he doesn't actually even get to.
Yeah. I think if you want to, this is kind of weird because it's you to yourself. This is harming Nicola, kind of. Because of Nicola's desire and James's or Daniel, what Daniel's trying to do. So if you wanted to completely stop Daniel from talking to Nicola at all, you could spend a resolve token from James to Nicola, oddly enough. If it's just for flavor, you don't have to spend a resolve token, but Daniel.
I think my thought was for James to fully keep Daniel from getting to Nicola, which is a weird inside baseball thing because I was thinking that could be good for me, actually.
Yeah. So go ahead and give yourself a resolve token from James.
Weird. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And
I both win and lose either way.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Just because we are running a little bit short on time, I don't think we need to do a scene, and it's 2 secondary
this is 2 side characters. Yeah, I think.
James, what does James? Just because I love the accent, what does James say to intercept Daniel? And we'll cut. We'll cut with that.
Hello. Ma, your name is Daniel, isn't it?
Perfect. Yeah. And the intercepted.
Choice.
Cool. We are kind of coming close to the time that we wanted to wrap. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to do while at the church? Because I certainly don't want to cut anyone's intentions off.
I guess.
And Nicola didn't get to do much as well.
That's totally fine. I think this being kind of a scene where it's mostly based on glances that people are making at each other, that feels kind of good to me for Nicola.
Yeah.
I did just imagine that they noticed that Daniel was heading towards them and were like, oh, a new person. And then James just kind of coming in from the side and just being like, okay, and then go off and do something else, thus removing their own chance to talk to either person.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Cool. Well, if we're good with that, then that will be the end of that novel phase. And I think really quickly, just so we don't forget where we are, let's do reputation, because this should be pretty fast.
Let's.
So Nicola, you have, okay. You've lost the fracture condition. But if it's cool with you, I think I'd like to postpone having a scene of you reuniting with Mortimer.
Sure.
Just because I think Mortimer's still sick. And I think I'd like to just devote a little bit more time to that instead of like pushing it in right at the end of the
Taylor,
session.
do you think it's possible that the fracture goes away because his mommy talks to him? Because that's very funny.
That is very funny. I thought you were gonna say because like he had a fever and like forgot that anything had happened.
Both extremely good. We can figure that out
Okay.
next time we play.
Little column A, little column B. Actually, before I necessarily negate fracture, let's look at if people have gained, because if you've lost one but gained another, then that'll still be in play. But all of you have lost a negative reputation tag. Do you have, I'm just gonna move some stuff around on the sheet. Do you all have ideas of other conditions you have met? Either positive or negative. Criteria, sorry, not conditions. And I will look at
I would argue.
Oh no, go ahead.
Constance, I think, definitely denied her desires to uphold the family name. I think that she really wanted to go talk to Esther, but knows that like they're not on talking terms.
Yeah, I think that's true.
So I'd argue that. And I wonder if her response to Daniel's letter could count as either one of those top two, like acting in service of duty or acting in obedience to society's conventions. Because she has these sort of connections with both Esther and Nicola, but both of those kind of come with sort of negative reputation strings.
Yeah.
So trying to form a connection with somebody that she doesn't really have that drive with, but is like respectable and cool and would definitely make her look good.
The one not messy person from Constance's.
So far, we don't know yet. We don't know yet.
The only thing I'm trying to figure out is if you get multiple of the same tag per reputation phase. Like if you meet multiple criteria.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's kind of unclear. It just says, the facilitator asks each player in turn whether their major character met any of their reputation criteria. If they did, the player with the help of the group creates an appropriate reputation tag to describe how society now views their major character. Base this tag on the events that cause the character's reputation to change. So I could see it going either way, honestly. But I think we should decide now.
Yeah.
So I'm consistent.
Yeah. That sort of Daniel really one was a little bit muddy anyway. I feel like just like if you met any of them, one notch makes sense.
That makes sense
that way,
to me too.
It's not like even in case you do a bunch of things that are good for your reputation, there's no chance of like fully blocking out your positive tag.
Yeah, it's like you gain a positive tag if you did any of these things. It seems like
did
that's
a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it's written. And also because we have so many like tags and rumors and stuff like that to pull from, we're not in any need of having more options for it. Okay.
Right.
So I think you do definitely get a positive tag.
Okay.
And I don't think you get a negative one this time.
I don't think I do. I was real restrained this time.
What about Esther? What do you think?
I'm not sure because, like, in church, where everybody was watching, she was acting very, like, appropriate. Like, she got recognition from her father. And then, like, immediately after, started scheming again. So
yeah,
I don't know if
she
there's
did some
like,
of both. Huh?
Yeah, so
Mhm.
I don't know if that like cancels out or like.
You would get both. So if you wanted to, you
okay.
would get a positive tag and a negative tag. Those you can definitely qualify for both because it's not doubling up. Let me see. Yeah, you did. You did. I have to say, you did. I was on the fence about it, but you did act in an uncouth, low class, or vulgar manner by essentially compelling someone to be a hitman for you. Because James was
You're like
like,
hiring somebody to take out Nicola.
James was like, do you want me to get a group of people to beat up Nicola and drive them out of town? And you were just like, maybe.
I don't know.
That's
You
what
tell
wanna
me.
do.
Those are your words.
You said it. So yeah, I think you get to pick a positive tag and a negative tag. So you will actually keep your you'll actually keep your tag of no importance, because you didn't actually lose. Or I suppose if you wanted to, you could switch from that one to probation. That's up to you. While you're thinking about, do you have tags in mind, or do you want to think about it and I'll go over to Tag?
Let me think about it for a second.
Cool. Nicola, do you think you have had positive or met positive or negative reputation criteria?
I think that maybe this is the one time I haven't necessarily gained a negative. I was trying to be fairly like, just keep your head down in church and the like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I gained a negative one for once.
No, I don't think you did.
I don't know that I gained a positive one either, though.
I don't know. That's what I was just looking at. I don't know if you did either.
Yeah.
Because you did pretty much act on desires. You went on some dates.
Yeah.
Hung out with some honeys. So
Is that so? As far as the cycle is concerned, does that kind of like, because that was in the first novel phase that I did that. So does the reputation just kind of include the previous novel and the previous epistolary, or is it like everything prior to now?
I think it's only since the last rumor, or since the last reputation. So not really rumor and scandal, because that's not anyone acting. So just the letter writing and novel, I think, are what affects this.
Right.
So yeah. So
Yeah,
pretty
so
much...
I don't know that I did anything positive or negative there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you did.
Like, I guess if I really wanted to, and I don't think I do want to, I could maybe make an argument for acting in obedience to society's conventions a little bit, because I just like showed up to church and was just like trying to be quiet and respectful, but like it wasn't like a terrible hardship at all.
That's the thing, is like
I don't think it counts.
The thing I think that would hold the weight is that it says despite considerable hardship in doing so, which I don't believe is. So yeah, you're a wash.
I remain pretty neutral.
You did lose that fracture condition, which is good. And we'll see what happens with Mortimer next time. So then Esther and Constance, what tags did you pick? And Constance, you get to pick a positive condition and get rid of this bad example one, which is funny that both of the Mortimer related ones went away at the same time.
I went with well connected, seeing as she's kind of actively turning her back on her connection with Esther and hanging out with Daniel some more. And I think that the condition I want to take is head of the household, because that one is directly involved with who marries who, which I think is going to be very funny.
Great. I'm very excited about that. Okay, so I'll untick bad example. Actually, I'll keep bad example and fracture ticked for now, so that next time we play, we remember that we're wanting to do stuff with Mortimer revolving around those two things. But the actual conditions don't apply. And Esther.
Yeah, so
I love it.
yeah, I'm having so much trouble coming up with like tags that are not contradicting each other.
It's fine if they do a little bit, because it just means that some people think, like, the people who think highly of you think these things, the people who think negatively of you. But go ahead. I think, do you want to just, because you have 6 reputation tags, do you just want to read all of them? Because chat actually can't see the,
Oh yeah.
can't see this time. Last time we could.
So my positive reputation tags, I have industrious, clever, and the new one I picked is innocent, which is kind of like the image that I was trying to portray in church for today. And then the negative reputation tags I have are rebellious, common, and vulgar. For just, you know, being a, what do you call it? A nasty little lady.
Yeah. Cool. And then you actually also get to pick a positive reputation condition. So you can pick equals or trustworthy, but you still
I'm gonna pick,
of no importance.
I think I'm gonna pick equals, which says your employer and their children view as one of the family. They extend to you the social privileges that they enjoy, just to give me an excuse to not be like shut out of all the like social events. Yeah. But still of no importance. No one.
Yeah.
Right
So I think essentially the farthing bottoms are considering you beneath the notice of good society. But Edith's family hold you in high regard, and maybe their like circle of, you know, friends see you as
Edith has an
equal.
influential family, I think. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, the one last thing that I'll say we should maybe do now to keep track of is new since last time. You all have these internal struggles. You don't need to, because we are getting, you know, we're past the time that we wanted to wrap up. You don't need to go through like verbally these things, but if you want to take a second as I'm wrapping up to, in your own mind, click. So the way these work is, so I'm looking at Esther's right now. Esther has reputation versus impulse. So whichever ones you took action, like the first one is you took action in pursuit of this. So if you took action in pursuit of your reputation, you tick that side. If impulse, you tick the other side. I cannot remember if they're mutually exclusive. I can't remember if you can tick both. I think it's either or. Just do that. We still
you can only pick one.
I think you can only pick one. I will check and get back to you all before the next time we go, so you can reevaluate. You don't have to do all of them, especially because we do have another epistolary before upkeep. But just because it's fresh on our minds, we just had these roleplay, you know, things. If you want to go through those and just internally think of anything, well, not entirely internally, because you'll be marking it on the sheet, but just go through those and check mark off if you think any of those apply. Next session, that will result, depending on how that goes, you can get resolve tokens from that. So that's why that matters. But I think that is going to be it for today's stream. So next month, we're going to be coming back with more of these same characters. We'll find out what Philip was up to this whole time. And also we'll have some more letters, some more novel phases, you know, some more stuff going on, more rumors coming into play, all very exciting stuff. Let me pull this over here. I'll talk about some stuff, and then I'll let you all reintroduce yourselves, in case anyone's catching just the end. But before I do that, Realist Mogul, thank you for the bits to help Nicola with their schemes. And also Mo Meow, thank you for the follow. My name is Taylor. I have been the facilitator for this game. I will be back on Tuesday, probably with Phoenix Wright, unless I decide otherwise. And Wednesday, I will be back with Game Master Helper, going through a workbook, talking about tabletop games. So if you want to talk about DMing or play styles or stuff like that, those streams are always super fun for me. I like talking to people about that kind of stuff. And also you can follow me on Twitter at @RollForFelicity to keep up with what I'm doing next. I am tentatively planning another one-shot this month. And also if you want to see past one-shots we've done or previous episodes of Arse and Farce, you can check out my YouTube, which is Roll for Felicity on YouTube, to see all of that stuff, as well as see, I think, at least Xavery and Tag on other streams. I will let you all give your plugs again, shout out anybody that you want to shout out, and this time we'll start with Tag because they're the only ones that we haven't started with yet. So do you want to let people know who you are and what else you got going on?
I have been Tag. Thank you for watching. I was the sort of Russian one. Yeah, follow me on Twitter, I guess. I usually, when I'm on Taylor's stream, like to have one of the plug sections be something that isn't me because it makes me feel less bad. So I'll just say I'm currently testing a game for my game design pal, Adam Buffoni. Adam makes amazing games, and one of them is a borrower's RPG.
Oh my gosh. I love
Taylor,
borrowers so much.
I've honestly been meaning to tell you about this game for ages. It's called Elfin Folk.
I love the borrowers.
Yeah, I think it's Adam Buffoni on Twitter. I'll be tweeting about Adam's stuff immediately after this, probably
also, Melanie,
because I've
if you
said
want
this.
To drop that link, you can do that because you can use links.
Adam is great, and my partner Melanie, who's in the chat, and I have been testing out his new game that he is testing. That is a 2-person horror journaling game.
Ooh.
And probably almost immediately after this, I'm going to go read the new entry that Melanie has put in our book. Mace and I are also sort of planning to set up a remote game of the same. Adam's one of my favorite game designers, and he's so lovely. Go check out him.
That's awesome. Who's next? I can't remember. Xavery, do you want to let people know where they can find you and other stuff that you want to plug? I think you're still muted.
There we go. Yeah, hi, I'm Xavery. I'm also Xavery on Twitter. I just have to say hi to my sister in the chat. Thebes!
Thebes!
And yeah, also say hi to my mom. Hi, Mom!
Xavery's mom!
And yeah, I just want to say, I have the mustache. I've been twirling it this whole time.
Oh, wonderful. What a delight. What a delight you all are. Mace, do you want to let people know what else you got going on, where they can find you, etc., etc.?
Yes, I have been Mace and will continue to be Mace after. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram is probably your better bet. Twitter, I kind of just yell into the void. I, as mentioned before, am selling my poetry in little individual envelopes. It's awfully cute. Just trust me on this one. And if you have access to the North Shore, those are available at certain coffee shops. But if you follow the Instagram, you can both order them through DMs and keep up to date on where specifically they are.
I just to help just shill for Mace. I have a poem that she wrote like on my desk right now within arm's reach whenever I'm sitting up here. And can confirm extremely cute to get a poem that is beautifully wax sealed, and also her work is so good.
Oh, thanks.
That's so lovely.
But yeah, no, you're welcome to even just follow the Instagram and see what I'm up to. Thanks. This is great.
I'm trying to figure out how I can put your Instagram in the Twitch chat without it formatting really
As a
weird.
URL.
Because it formats either as a URL or if I do at first, it like at mentions a random account. So like either way, I'm like, I don't know if I don't want people to click on something and have it be like some weird thing. So I just between now and then, I need to just get a link to your Instagram in and I'll put it in the bot. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Did somebody say oh? Did someone have something else to say? I was looking away. No, I'm having auditory hallucinations, I guess. So we are going to raid somebody, which if you are not familiar with Twitch means that we are going to bring this chat into someone else's chat and see what they have going on. If you are a subscriber to Roll for Felicity, which if you are, thank you so much, you can copy and paste the message that just went out into chat, the entire message. It will populate. I know it looks weird. It will populate as an emote, the sparkling water emote. If you are not a subscriber or don't have that emote, you can just copy and paste felicitations from the Felicity Raiders. And when we get to the new stream, you can copy and paste that into their chat just to let them know where you came from. And we are going to raid some folks who are playing D&D. It looks like they're playing Acquisitions Incorporated, which is cool. And they are a great creator. Dimples and Dice. Let me see this. Is this right? Am I spelling it right? I believe I am. So we're all gonna go hang out in their chat, just to, see other creators, see what they've got going on, do fun stuff. And I will be back on Tuesday with some Phoenix Wright. And I will see you all then. That's all I really think I have to say. So do we all want to wave goodbye to chat? And I will go to the stream
This
ending.
is so weird with my blurring.
Goodbye. Farewell. Farewell, everyone.